Welcome back to the Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Happy Sunday to you guys. Browns victory Sunday again. Welcome on into the Browns post game reaction. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button for me. Everybody, hit the like button for me on the way in. I'd really appreciate that. And leave a comment below as we go throughout the show today. Crazy game today. Gonna be a great show tonight. Having fun reacting to this game as the Browns defeat the Bears to move on to 9-5. They won today 20-17. Crazy game. The first half was kind of, crappy weather, rain, heavy rain, heavy wind. And the first half, the defense was okay. I thought the offenses could not get going at all. Couldn't catch a rhythm. Couldn't really get going. And just just really couldn't get going. I mean, the only thing that really happened in the first half, I think they had one touchdown, then a Njoku touchdown, but just kind of stale, just couldn't get going. Same thing in the third quarter, same thing happened for the Browns. Bad third quarter, turned the ball over, the Bears were rolling. It looked like one of those games going into the fourth quarter where you're like, man, that's another game we blew away. Like, we should have won. Like, we should have beat this team pretty sound. But the opposite happened. And that's the one thing about this team this year, what we saw today. They leveled up. But that fourth quarter comeback, down 10 going to the fourth, I mean, that was incredible. I mean, I think there's two plays, in my opinion, that were the two biggest plays in this game. One of them was a decision by a head coach. And Matt Eberflus deciding to not kick the field goal at the end of at the end of the half, I think was a big part of that game. I think it really affected that. They could have, because they kick a field goal there, it's a tie game down at the end of that game probably. So probably going to overtime. I didn't get that decision at all from Eberflus, and Justin Fields got blasted on that play. Not a great play, not a good decision at all from Eberflus. I thought that was a big part of the game. That decision rather. But the play that got it going for the Browns was the Marquise Goodwin bomb. It was a great drive. I mean, Kevin Stefanski in the fourth quarter was one of the best one of the best quarters I've ever seen him call. Today's game in the fourth quarter from Kevin Stefanski was phenomenal. I mean, he was a magician out there. I mean, he really just turned it around. And you know what? Something about Stefanski right now is there's just something different. I've been critical of Stefanski on this show earlier in the year. I wasn't really impressed. I thought I was trending in the wrong direction, but I got to give the guy credit. And I'm glad. It's not like I want to fire anybody ever. You don't want to do that. I mean, what Kevin Stefanski's done this month and the way he's turned it around, the way that team is together right now, the leadership, the camaraderie, the fight, it really all kind of reflects the coaching in a way. I mean, if you ever been I wouldn't say if you ever been on a team, if you've ever been on a winning team. There's a lot of people that played football, but not a lot of people really wanted football. If you've been on a winning team, which I have right there, and I've been on a couple other winning teams, at any level, you understand team winning, team chemistry, how important leadership is, coaching. And I see a lot of things Kevin Stefanski's doing right now that's winning recipe. And I like that. The way he's holding this team together, the way he's leading these guys, the way in the fourth quarter got down to the best players on the field and just got on the ball. Njoku, how creative he is with the play calling today in the fourth quarter, I thought was great. The way the offensive line's been able to block with considering all the injuries. I mean, they're down to their third and fourth string offensive lineman pretty much outside of Wyatt Teller. So Kevin Stefanski's doing a hell of a job. You got to give him credit. I mean, I'm not going to say much about him the rest of the year. The fact that they're 9-5 and one of the better teams in the conference, in my opinion, says a lot. You got to give the man credit. You can't just poo-poo on this guy because maybe you don't like him or you want to run with the narrative. You can't do that. You got to be fair and you got to be honest. You got to be down the middle with it. So, yeah, but that fourth quarter, the Goodwin bomb to me, that was the play that really changed the game. Just won the momentum. It was a great play call. They end up scoring a touchdown there. The Amari Cooper touchdown, that play was crazy. Another great play call. You can tell they started to figure out Chicago's coverage there in the fourth quarter, started to find some of the creases. And that rope, that was a rope. Just a beautiful pass that Joe Flacco threw to Amari Cooper, threaded the needle. and Amari Cooper was able to run tiptoe right up the sideline for the touchdown. The defense in the fourth quarter was the defense we've seen all year, outstanding, getting pressure, deflections, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. I think it was 3-and-outs in a row. And that game-winning field goal drive, David Njoku, huge today. Big time catch in the back of the end zone in the first half, and in that fourth quarter, he was lights out. I mean, you can't ask for a better performance from Njoku. Had the one penalty, but he made up for it. And great play call, getting him out in space. When he's out in space as a tight end, he's a mismatch on a lot of people. So overall, great game from David Njoku. Love what I saw from him, and he's really improved throughout the year. Now that he has a consistent quarterback too, I think it's really going to help him out a lot. Something he hasn't really had a lot in his career as well. And then the game-winning field goal. Obviously, Dustin Hopkins steps up, knocks it down, and the rest is history. Now, that Hail Mary at the end of the game was crazy. Um, Moore had it on the ground, and he bobbled it up in the air, and D'Anthony Bell caught it and picked it off. 50-50 play. It almost went in their direction, but luckily went in our direction. And here we are at 9-5, and looking pretty good. And I feel pretty good about this team right now. Looking down the stretch here, you got the Texans next week are pretty banged up. A lot of their key players that helped them throughout the year are out. And then after the Texans, you have the Jets, who are pretty banged up, did not look good today at all. And the Bengals, who won yesterday, but they're so-so, in my opinion. I'm not really sold on the Bengals yet, or Jake Browning. I think yesterday's game was just two bad teams going against each other, to be honest with you. And the Vikings really should have won the game, but that's a whole other story. But I'm not really impressed with. Yeah, I think the Browns can really win out down the stretch here, win 3 in a row. I think they're better than all the teams they're playing, a lot. Even with all the injuries, they're still better on the offensive line than Cincinnati. Which is pretty sad for Cincinnati, considering all the injuries we have on our offensive line. I mean, and our defense is better than anybody we're going to play. The only team close to us defensively is the Jets. And the Texans, a lot of their key players out, wide receivers out, and it's showing on the field. Kind of looking like a rookie team now. Yeah, I think the Browns can win out, and I think they finished 12-5, and where that places us, I don't know. I mean, we'll see if Baltimore wins tonight. I mean, but I feel pretty good about where the Browns are right now, and I like their chances against any team really in the AFC right now. I mean, I don't know there's a legit elite team, what I consider elite. I think the 49ers right now are the only team in the whole NFL that are really elite. They've been consistently elite all year. I don't think Baltimore, to me, can't say that yet because they haven't done anything in the playoffs. So, 49ers at least have made it to the Super Bowl in the NFC Championship, and they have a lot more talent. So I think the Browns, I like their match. I think Buffalo is a scary team on the rise. I think us and Buffalo are probably the two teams, not only because of our climate, but we dominate up front on the offensive line and defensive line on both sides. I think that's really what matters most going into the playoffs. You have to be able to dominate up front and establish the line of scrimmage, and that's what the Browns did in the fourth quarter today, which kind of really swung that game away in our momentum in our favor for us to get the victory. We just started beating them up front on both sides, and I think Buffalo can do that. They dominated the Cowboys too, who are a pretty good team, and so it's gonna be interesting here down the stretch. But I'm gonna do enough of the talking now. We'll see who pops up here tonight. So far, we got jerseys in the house.
Lamar
Dad,
Jackson just threw a horrific pick.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the Sunday night game on right now, too, on both of us. We'll have some other guys popping in here soon. I tried getting hold of Antonace. He's not answering. I think he had too much fun today, went home and crashed out. So it's been a lot of Sundays for Mike like that. But, Dad, you heard my little soliloquy on the game today, and there's a lot more I could say about this game. We will get into, but I think, what was your biggest take from the game today, the victory, and what's your stance right now on Kevin Stefanski?
Well, just like you, I was critical of him beginning of the season. I think rightfully so. I said that he had to. I said that he had to win. He had to get to the AFC Championship to keep his job. I don't know if that's. I'm up in the air on that now. I mean, you got to give it to the guy. He's done a great job with all the injuries, everything that's happened. But we also got to get a lot of credit to Bill Callahan too. I mean, that offensive line that's just amazing.
I'd
What
say
Bill,
that whole Bill Callahan, Chad O'Shea,
yeah,
Stump Mitchell. I mean,
whole,
Alexander. I think the whole offensive staff's done a pretty, considering all the circumstances. Hasn't
yeah,
been pretty at times, but they get it done.
yeah, the whole staff. But I mean, but then he goes back to Stefanski. He's the manager of the staff. So, and everybody seems like they're all on the same page, rowing in the same direction, and it's showing on the field. You know, that's why they're able to come back from being down 10 at the beginning of the fourth quarter and win a game, because everyone's rowing and everyone's focused on the same thing, and it's just a beautiful thing to see. I think Flacco just, that offense, it just gives them. There's so many plays that can be called now that couldn't be called before he was there, and just able to actually beat defenses. I mean, it's just a whole different dimension it's added to the offense. So, but defense kept them in the game. Defense played great. Here, 3 turnovers they had to defend. Still only gave up 17. Kept giving them chances, and then they put their drives together in the fourth quarter to win the game. And they were great drives. They were great plays, great execution. I like that play with Goodwin. Same thing. That's what really I think changed it when they finally loosened up that defense. And I told you the game, Dan, if you're watching, Dan called it. Dan sent us out a text, was it a week ago or so, and said Goodwin practicing, look for the long ball. And so yeah, it was just great job by Njoku. It's just great to see. Here, hell, a year ago, that game we lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just such a difference. Such a difference, right? Such a difference. But it goes back to coaching. You have to give it to Stefanski because he's the head coach. So he's coaching his coaches. He's managing everything. And I like his enthusiasm on the sideline now. You're starting to see a little bit of, when Tillman blew that route and that first pick happened. I mean, it showed Stefanski dropping the F-bomb on the sideline. I like that. And I think the players like it too. So
you've seen a lot more of that this year. You saw in the mic'd up in last week's game. He's going up to Miles and the way he's talking to him on the sideline, like they have a real relationship, like a genuine relationship. You see his post game speeches after they win, even like today with Njoku, and the way he spoke about Njoku as a teammate, and just little things like that really matter in any locker room. And he's doing it this year, and I think too what I like about him. And we've been really hard on him. Some people on our show can't stand him, but the one thing I really like about him is he's adapting.
Right.
You can tell he's actually learning and going. He's, I watch some of these other young coaches that people anoint in the NFL for some reason that they think they're so great. And you watch some of them, and I'm kind of like, I'd take Stefanski over them. At least he's adapting. Some of these other coaches, they're so stuck in their ways, like Miami. I don't know if Miami can ever go far because they're soft, number one. And number two, I mean, we watched their games recently. Like last week, they had the ball 3 times down in the red zone and didn't run it one time.
Well, here, and they're giving up
three plays in a row in the red zone, didn't run it one time. But it's, they're too gimmicky. I'm just using them as an example. But
they're giving up play. They're giving up fourth quarters. They're giving up leads in the fourth quarter, and we're coming back and winning.
Right, that's the whole point. And that means you're adjusting. Your halftime adjustments are working, and your team's responding to you. A lot of these teams, if they don't start off fast with these younger coaches, that's it. Game's over.
Right. And that's here. The dude's doing it, man. And you know what? The players throughout the season, they see it. They see what he's going through.
That team could have went on him many times.
Yeah, and they have it because they see what he's doing. So I think what's happening is he's throughout the season, he is earning more and more and more respect from the players and the other coaches. And now you're seeing the result of it. And these guys just won't go down. I mean, they just keep fighting. and they, you know what I mean. So
Mhm.
it's just that's just the way sports is supposed to be. It's just great to see him. Glad it's happening in Cleveland, and hope we just keep fighting off injuries. And still got 3 more games, and yeah, I'm with I don't know who the hell was we watching the other night. He said nobody wants to face this Cleveland team.
Bernie Kosar.
Yeah, Bernie Kosar are saying that no one wants to face this Cleveland team. I mean, I think he's right. And
Yeah, and it's
I think the other thing that's really holding him too is there's a experienced field general out there running that offense that these guys believe in. It's just ice cold. I mean, dude's just got ice water in his veins.
yeah, he threw 3 bad picks today, but still led the game-winning touchdown drive for
Yeah,
2 touchdowns and like almost 400 yards.
I mean that first one probably wasn't his fault. Tillman screwed up on that route. It seems
Yeah.
like, but
It was a miscue.
yeah, still he still let them down the field. They won. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I think too. Like, it's just impressive. I mean, the offensive line overall for the whole game today, I didn't think played their best game, probably their worst game of the year because I had the injuries and you lost Petonio in the middle of the game, and
Yeah,
you're down. You're basically your practice squad guys almost. Besides Teller. Um, I think though in the fourth quarter there was something I don't know. It's just Flacco getting the ball out quicker. They just this really clicked. I mean, what did you see in the fourth quarter? You think of the offense that was different in the first
well, they started to run the ball
3 quarters? It was
consecutively.
stagnant. They couldn't get
Yeah,
anything going. Couldn't catch.
they started to run the ball consecutively low, and started got some rhythm going, some momentum going.
And the
Alex, and then some of those plays, we haven't seen those plays all year. I mean, we've watched every game. We just haven't seen. Those are some great play calling, and I just think it was here. Our guys fought to the end. Our guys fought harder. Our defense fought harder. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh,
I don't know.
sorry, I
If,
think
well,
my
I don't know
Wi-Fi
if your
went out,
internet's
but
going on. Is it?
yeah,
It's my TV's just
issue.
buffering.
Yeah, I
But
don't know what's
yeah,
going on, but
they started to run the ball a little bit more, and that's what sets that offense in motion.
yeah, I think I'm curious to see if I was running I would try out maybe practice this week. I might put Luke Whippler at center and slide Nick Harris over to left guard. I think Michael Dunn had a hard time today. He was a little better in the fourth quarter, but yeah, I think that might be their best option there. I think Whippler is actually better, more natural center than Nick Harris. He's lower to the ground. So I'm curious too that maybe they make some tweaks there. Maybe they go out and sign somebody off the street, maybe a veteran. I think they maybe have to bring in another body, you know what I mean, a veteran to come in there for the O line. But defensively, though, the guy that impresses you and me the most is J.O.K, who had a monster fourth quarter. I mean, completely wrecked that game in the fourth quarter. What did you think of him today in the defense?
Which is I told you when he got drafted. Within 5 years, this guy's gonna be the top player, if one of the top defensive players in the league. The dude is just an absolute. He's going to go down as one of the greatest football players ever. I mean, just all-out ball player. I mean, there's not many like him that come through. Like I think of like a Troy Polamalu, like that. That's what Koromoa reminds me of. I mean, it's guys just everywhere at all times. His motor, it just doesn't stop. It's just, gosh darn, having him and Garrett on the same defense. It's just playing off of each other. It's just amazing to watch. I love the dude. I love Myles Garrett, but I think Koromoa is one of my favorite players on the team. I've loved Cor. I've loved him since they drafted him.
Yeah, I would say Garrett, Ward, and Koromoa. That's probably your top 3 defenders, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and Emerson's working himself up there, but just what Koromoa is able to do, his speed, sideline, getting into the backfield, blowing up plays. He can play multi. I mean, the dude's just amazing, and he's actually being used the proper way. So, take that guy off that defense, that changed that whole defense dramatically. So, just shows how important he is.
Yeah, I agree. I think too. Uh, that the way the defensive line was getting off today with Dalvin Thomas got off the ball in that one play and got right in the backfield. I mean, when that defensive line really wants to go, I mean, those are some big tackles they made in the fourth quarter. Cameron Mitchell made that shoestring tackle on Fields right there at the fourth down.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd and 1, Alex Wright they tried the little sweep on the outside, and Alex Wright tackled in space. That's the one thing about this defensive line, really this defensive whole, is the pressure they're able to get up front, but also something we didn't see last year was just fundamental tackling.
Yeah, they do tackle. We saw that from the beginning of the year. They definitely, and that's just Jim Schwartz. They certainly tackle. I mean, a lot better than they did before. So, and that should be the foundation of the defense, really. You know what I mean? That's what you do in defense. You tackle.
Oh, you
You know
learn
what I
that
mean?
in first time you play.
Right. I mean, that's what you do. You tackle the offensive players. So they established that, and I mean, the guys they've had it. They just had they've played with some attitude from the beginning of the season, and just great. Just love seeing that cohesion out there. It's just football's the greatest game in the world. Just amazing to watch, and it's just crazy. It's happening in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I don't think
really is.
I don't know if my lifetime I've ever seen a team at this point in the season with this kind of energy. Even 3 years ago, we went to the playoffs. That team was good, but I don't think they were better than this team. This team just is
No.
able to close games. That team couldn't really really close games, come back. You know what I mean? They had like some bad losses that
Yeah.
season to the Raiders at home, and it kind of bit them in the ass in the Kansas City game, and they couldn't close out the game. But I think this team here, they're coming back, but it's like today's game. I thought I was watching like an Ohio State game. I remember I told you that because like sometimes when you watch Ohio State in the game when you know they're going to win, but they're just playing like shit for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden they just turn it on in the fourth quarter and they win because they have more talent. But I think what you're seeing with the Browns though, it's like they kind of figured out their formula now in the veteran quarterback, and it's like they just turned it on in the fourth quarter. It's like okay, time to go win now, and they just do it.
Well, you certainly see on defense, you always see Myles Garrett. His motor just goes into overdrive in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? The guy's
How many times has he held in the last 2 weeks?
oh my god, the holding today. You heard me yelling. These I'm not gonna get into about referees in the NFL. This thing's driving me crazy. But it's just constant holding. How the hell did there? I mean, my gosh, it's almost like he's held on every play.
Yeah, the
And
refereeing today was not good.
these refs were terrible today. They were just lousy as hell. It's just the inconsistency of it. It just drives me crazy. If you're consistent, I'll live with it. But there's just too many flags thrown in the NFL. I mean, they throw shit for that stuff they shouldn't throw a flag
Well,
for.
it's like that 20-yard screenplay in the first quarter, I think it was, but Pierre Strong caught up the sideline, and they
Yeah,
said there was a hold. And you look at the replay, and you're like, "There's no hold. They just got manhandled up front on the screen. There's no hold."
yeah, it's I don't know, but yeah, I mean,
It's
like I
like the
said,
calls they should call, they don't call them, and then the calls they do call, they shouldn't have called
right?
them. It's always the opposite.
Yeah, but Garrett just seems to go into overdrive in fourth quarter, and you know, here they found a way. You know what I mean? Their motors just turned harder, longer than the Bears, and then talent. I think, like you said, the talent came through. We had just more talent, so um, and that's why we won the game.
What'd you think
So
of David Njoku today? I mean, a lot of people question his consistency, catching ability. He had a monster game today. It showed off his elite skill set. I think I guess you could say. Not many tight ends have that skill set in the NFL. And just completely dominant in that fourth quarter. Very clutch, big plays. He tried a drop kicking the dude in the air on the one,
I love when he does that.
and then he went out of bounds. And then to come back the 2 plays later and to catch that pass. I mean, that was a beautiful play design too. I mean, the middle of the field was wide open, and it set up that field goal basically. What'd you think of David today?
Oh, he was great. I mean, he was great the whole game. I mean, my gosh, he's a tough cover. I mean, and like I told you during the game, you know what makes that guy so great? it's his. I'm not gonna say great. He's not great. I'm saying good. Is his balance. Like that play in the fourth quarter, majority tight ends would have just they would have went to the ground on a hit. He spins and keeps his balance and then gets another 25 yards downfield. Same thing with that catch in the back of the end zone. You see it every game, and you've seen it all through his career. He's just got unbelievable balance, and that's why he's able to extend plays and get yards after catch and it's very unique for a guy his size. So I love Njoku. Some people aren't fans of him. Is he the best tight end in the football? No. Does he need to be? No.
He's better than a lot of them.
He is. Is he effective? Hell yeah, he's effective. And he had a great hand winning us that game today, and he's done it quite a few times. So I like Njoku.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find a guy with that skill set, and what makes him unique is he's almost like a receiver, basically.
Yeah,
that's what
he's like a hybrid player.
He's a hybrid player, which is hard to find. And when you have one of those, it gives you a whole other weapon and a whole other element. Yeah, he may have
and here, but they're putting him in good. Oh man, Lamar Jackson just got hit. But they're putting him in the right spots though, which is great. And so he's able to be utilized, and thank God, you got a seasoned vet in there that knows when to find a tight end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of these quarterbacks just can't check down or they can't find them. So, but yeah, he's definitely being used the way he should be used.
Yeah, I agree. I think too. We got the president of the David Njoku fan club, Chris. Chris, a big win for your Lions last night. That was awesome. They kicked their asses last night.
It's about time he showed up.
Yeah.
No, here. I mean, it seems like ever since I called him out for being inconsistent, and at what point
he's trying to prove Chris on the real wrong.
Right. Yep, he heard it.
We all knew the talent was there. It's just when is he going to put it all together? But he's played two really good games. I mean,
I think the quarterbacks had a big part of that.
That's what I was going to say. Yep. That's what I was going to say.
But not only a quarterback, he's a tall quarterback.
Yeah.
He's tall. He's a winner. It's Flacco. He's a veteran. This dude, his whole career, he's had Deshaun Kaiser's first year, small. Baker Mayfield, small. Walker and DTR, small. And when he's had Watson, he's played well, but Watson he's only played like 6 games this year. So, it's just, and he finally has that quarterback. Well, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, he's had 2 really good games, and good for him. Good for the Browns. I mean, here they squeaked one out today. I mean, here that's just what it happens. Good teams in this league, it's the margin of error slim. And I mean,
what did you think of that fourth quarter today?
I have no idea how Darnell Mooney didn't catch.
Oh, I know. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It was
Poor
in his
guy.
lap. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah. I think he was stunned.
It was the luckiest tip too. I mean, it fell right to him. You're just like, because it's a 50-50 play to begin with.
Of course.
Just like,
yeah. I mean, it would have been lucky, obviously, if they did it. But wow.
What did you think though, Chris? Because of that fourth, as a Lions fan and Browns fans, we have a lot in common. We're not used to, pulling out games in the fourth quarter a whole lot. Usually, we're down 10 going to the fourth. The last 20 years, we're just the game's over. What did you think of that fourth quarter comeback? And what did you think of Stefanski's in the fourth quarter? I thought he did a hell of a job in the fourth quarter today. That's probably one of the best quarters I've ever seen him call, really.
Well, I think that the Browns finally played a coach that's worse than Stefanski. And he's, my gosh, the Bears next year with maybe even Harbaugh, they're going to win a lot of games. They're tough. I actually think
that's a good team. No.
Yeah.
Rise.
And I think they're a coach away. I mean, I didn't get the the Hail Mary at halftime, although that wasn't an interception, but I have Justin Fields in fantasy, so it got me net -2 for no reason. But so a little salty about that one. But it definitely wasn't a pick, but whatever they called it that. I don't understand why you don't either. Yeah, I don't understand why you don't kick the field goal there. There's some things that I feel like the Browns were let back in the game, but their defense is legit. The stat that I heard today that was just kind of amazing to me is the Browns are the worst in the NFL in getting scored on off turnovers.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is amazing to me that they're still statistically the best defense in the NFL. Which tells me that if they don't turn the ball over, they're almost impossible to score on, which is just amazing.
Right.
I mean, if they're the worst in the league getting scored on off turnovers, just don't turn the ball over and they ain't getting scored on. I mean, that's just that's
well,
just
and I think what was impressive too was with Flacco at the bad 3 interceptions early in the game. The one of them was Tillman just made a rookie error.
Yeah.
But I think too it was impressive just the way he was still able to compose himself in that fourth quarter, which something we haven't seen from a quarterback.
Well, he's a vet. That's
what I'm saying. We're not used to seeing that, and to overcome still like that. I mean, it was just what a day great day for the Lions yesterday. Great day for the Browns today. I gotta ask you guys.
I heard you guys say that Njoku is one of the best tight ends, which made me think. Come on outside. Where would you actually rank?
Oh, we didn't say
Njoku? That. No. I know he's not many better. Is which I agree with when he's.
I think he's better than most.
But yeah, that's what I heard. So
yeah.
It made me think of my tight end that we have on the Lions, and it really makes me excited that.
Laporta, he's a bad dude.
My gosh, how awesome is that guy?
Yeah, great game.
I liked him in college.
He played Iowa, didn't he? He played Iowa.
He was great. Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Tight end you. He is a great player. My gosh.
I mean, there's some really good tight ends. I think, obviously, Kelsey.
Where would you rank Njoku? That's what I was.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's top 5 because he hasn't been consistent enough. But I think he's in the. I think
him
or
would you have rather have him or
I think he's a top 10 though.
Him or Evan Ingram?
Probably. I think. I don't know. I like Njoku in fourth quarters. He always plays his best in fourth. He'll have a shitty game for 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, a lot of games.
Yeah.
He just shows up. I like Njoku because there's a lot more you can do with him. He's just a lot more elusive, a lot more. I mean, I'd have to watch more Evan Ingram this year. I haven't really seen him a whole lot. I mean, besides last week, he's a good player, but
him or Laporta.
I haven't seen enough Laporta. I saw Laporta in college, and I was watching some of that game last night, so I can't tell you. You know what I mean? Laporta looks great. The thing I love about Njoku, though, he's not your standard tight end, I should say. Just the way he obtains yards after he catches the ball. He's a little bit different type of player, a little more athletic than most tight ends.
Of course, yeah.
But I can't say because I haven't seen enough of Laporta.
Well, you'll be seeing a lot of them because that dude's bad. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he's – but, I mean, the fact that he's even mentioned with those guys, I think is good. I mean, I think he's top 10. That's probably where I'd rank him somewhere in the top 10. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you got the Kittles, the Kelsey, Mark Andrews. You know, those kind of guys obviously are ahead of them.
Yeah. But you know what, though? Those guys all get targeted so many more times than him. I mean, Mark Andrews is the main target for Lamar Jackson. Kelsey's the main target for – I mean, all those guys, Kerry Kittle, they just get targeted more.
Kerry Kittle, the old shooting guard for the –
oh, not Kerry Kittle, yeah.
New Jersey Nets, baby.
Kerry Kittle. George Kittle.
George Kittle. I'm sorry, but
It's all right.
Harry Kittle. I like that better.
I'm just saying those guys have always got targeted more. I'd be, it'd be interesting to see if Njoku got the same amount of targets throughout an entire season, what would happen.
He's definitely had 2 really good games. I mean, for sure. But then again, I mean,
I can't say any. I can't say any of the other guys are just like light years ahead of the guy as far as talent.
If you look at like Laporta or Njoku, there's probably things Njoku does better, things Laporta does better.
Yeah,
but I think Njoku is just a different kind of tight end. His skill set, he's just a little different, which is fine.
Right.
Laporta is your typical tight end who's probably gonna be elite. Njoku's a little different.
Yeah, it's just a different type of player.
Yeah, I mean, like Shannon Sharp was a little different than Tony Gonzalez.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It's the same type of thing. Gronkowski.
But do they impact the position though? That's my whole. Are they doing their job?
Mm-hmm.
But none of them are Gronkowski though.
No,
I
mean I'm biased to Gronk because I love.
Yeah,
Gronk,
ain't nobody like Gronkowski.
Gronk was the nastiest blocker.
Gronk was awesome.
Gronk
but he was
blocker.
Yeah, I mean they all got their all different strengths, and it's like, are you finding those strengths through your offense? And I think the last 2 games certainly that's what they've done with Njoku. What he's good at, they've utilized, they've executed upon it, and they've won.
Yeah,
I gotta ask both you guys though. I am a little concerned. If I have one concern going forward, it's the run game. It's just not clicking as much as I want it to right now. I know they're playing good defenses the last couple of weeks in the run, and I get the offensive lines when you're down your 3rd, 4th string guys, but I feel like they got to do. And there's one thing Stefanski needs to do better. I think they need to really come out and make a conscious effort in the first half to really commit to the run more and establish the run game more.
Yeah, they're not even trying.
They're not trying, and I think that could have bit them in the ass today. I mean,
of course.
Well, it's going to if they don't.
That's my only concern.
You can't get in the playoffs and not run the ball.
Yeah.
Especially next week going on the road. You want to be able to try to run the ball.
That's a big game next week.
Right.
That's a huge game for both.
And
teams.
you want to keep it out of Stroud's hands, so you want to have long sustained drives.
That's if he plays. He can play this week. I don't know if he's going to play next week. But
yeah, I mean it's a concussion, so he should. I mean, not many people. I mean, we'll see if he misses. That's a big game though. If they lose that one, I mean, no one wants to see the Buffalo Bills. I tell you that in that AFC.
I think the Browns and the Bills are the 2 teams right now that are trending in that territory of teams that could be the most dangerous in the playoffs, and they're both probably going to be in the 5 to 7 range.
Here, I mean, if the Browns lose next week, I mean, what? It's them in Cincinnati. I mean,
I don't know. But if they win though, because I think they will win, because I think I don't even if Stroud
if they win, they're in.
That's my whole point. I think Houston's too banged up, and both the receivers are out. I don't. Yeah. That's a big deal for Stroud, and I like our defense against them, especially getting to him and taking away the run. I think Flacco do no job in a dome too, so you don't have to worry about the weather or anything. But if they win though, and they win again, I mean you're looking at them in Buffalo right now as the 2 teams that are red hot going into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
For
sure. I mean, I don't. I mean, everyone, including me, thought the AFC was so loaded. I don't see a team that's just like a for sure slam dunk. I mean,
I don't either.
I mean,
it's really coming down who do you match up against, really?
Yeah. I mean, Miami's a good team, but
yeah, but if we played Miami though, I kind of like us against Miami because I think Miami's a little soft, and we have the corners to go against their receiving core. You take that away, their defense isn't great, and they're not great on the line of scrimmage. I don't know. I mean, it's Kansas City. I'm not really a big fan of theirs. I like Buffalo though. I like the way they're trending right now.
My gosh, they just tore up Dallas.
Yeah, but
which
here
I
Josh,
enjoyed.
I knew I had a feeling Dallas was gonna get blown out.
Where's
Going on
Corey? His Atlanta Falcons just lost to the stinking
9-7,
Panthers.
Where is Corey?
9-7.
Yeah, Corey, get your ass up here. I'm gonna send him the link.
9-7 to the Carolina Panthers.
No more hiding, Corey. Get
They
up
thought they
here.
were playing baseball. 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Baker Mayfield gonna get a home playoff game.
Did you see the ticket prices for that game?
Yeah, 50 cents.
Was that you that sent that to me?
Yes, I sure did.
Yeah, it was you that sent it to me.
50
Yeah,
cents.
50 cents to go to that game. Hey, Corey, come tell us about that 50-cent game today.
My
You guys are playing.
gosh.
Huge game.
And it somehow people didn't get their money's worth. Still.
No.
My gosh.
50 cents. Unbelievable.
Because they had paid you $50,000 to go to that game.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I can tell you this.
I don't know. Some people might say no. It was that bad.
They could have
Not
offered
me.
me. They could have offered me. Where was the game at? Was it? Where was it?
It was in Carolina, I think.
Carolina
Okay.
in the rain. Heavy
Okay,
rain.
so
downpour rain.
no matter if I was in Atlanta or Carolina, you couldn't have paid me $1,000 to go to the game. If I lived there, I still would have went to the game, even if it was at the end of my driveway. $1,000 at the end of my driveway, and I still wouldn't go.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. That's my whole point. I was trying to, and it was downpouring in the Carolina state too. I mean, heavy rain. There's like major flash flooding going on there right now too.
Yeah.
I mean, 9-7, and then that's the fact that the Buccaneers are going to get a home playoff game. I mean, I don't know if there's ever been a worse playoff. Sorry, Dan, but and Dan probably even say this. Has there been a worse divisional playoff team ever to make the playoffs?
No, I not that I can think of, but
Yeah, I mean they looked good though. They went into Green Bay, and I think Baker had a perfect passer rating. I think it was perfect. I think he had 158.3. Is that the perfect passer rating? I mean, it was just unbelievable that he just went into Green Bay and he was just dropping dimes all over Lambeau Field. I mean, I'm like, what in the world?
Damn.
I think they, I don't mind if they want to put your division champs in, but I think they should reseed them after. I don't think it's a shame that these assholes are going to get a first. You know what I mean? They're going to play at home in the first round. They're seeded higher than other teams. That's the one thing I don't like. You want again? I would rather just do away with the division bullshit, and it's just the top. It's the top teams that get in. But if you are going to go by division, don't seed them that way. I hate that.
I just need if the Eagles win tomorrow night, which I'm actually kind of somehow hoping they don't, but still, if they do, the Lions clinch a playoff spot. It gets me excited. But next week,
right here we got here's the NFC standings. We got San Fran is rolling right now, 11-3. The Eagles 10-3, but they've been struggling. I actually might, to be honest with you, Chris, I probably would take the Lions over the Eagles right now. I liked what I saw last night, to go out at home like that and dominate like that this late in the season. That's really important to me. But the Lions 10-4, Bucks 7-7. Then you got Dallas at 10-4, but a bad loss today, but they're still a good team. And then Minnesota to me is a little. I'm not. They're probably 1-out. I think the Rams though, that team. Did they win today?
Who?
Yeah, they won.
The Rams.
Yeah,
they're
they
playing really good ball down the stretch. I mean, that's a team that could score some points. Defensively, they're not great, but still got Aaron Donald, some other guys. But that team, the Rams, and it's funny. I think the Rams and the Bills are both teams that have kind of emerged in the last month and kind of are sliding up in both the conferences.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 4-team race in the NFC. It's Dallas, Philly, Detroit, and San Francisco. There's no one else that's really even on their level, in my opinion.
You think Seattle or Minnesota gets in?
I think Seattle gets in. Minnesota
too.
plays Detroit twice. Next week we play in
Yeah.
Minnesota, but it's going to be my Christmas present that it's the first time in 30 years, if we win that game, that the Lions win the North. 30 years.
Crazy.
I'm 34, so I am.
Dan said the Bucks will beat the Browns right now. It's the Fancies are choosing to run the ball. I think the Browns would completely annihilate the Bucks right now if they play. I don't.
Right.
Baker would probably have about 3 picks that game.
I don't know.
We don't got. We got.
Teams,
They got
though.
Baker at quarterback.
Well, we don't even have to run the ball. We can sit back. And just
I
keep
don't
throwing
know
us.
how many teams though this Browns team can just demolish though.
I think the Bucks will be one of them because they're quarterback.
Just they're just not built to just really. I think they're going to be in a lot of close games, but the good news is they're winning those close games right now. And
Yeah,
that
and I think
obviously
a lot of it
matters.
too is just the influx in the roster. I mean, you're down to your third and
Of
fourth
course.
string.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lost your franchise left guard who's a future Hall of Famer. You lost him today in the middle of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to put Michael Dunn in there. You know what I mean? He's a practice guy. But I think that's a lot of it too. I think if they could just finally get a little healthy and get some of their key guys back and just continue this momentum, then I think we could see more of that complete game we haven't seen. But luckily they're still winning them. But
Yeah, it reminds me of the Minnesota Vikings team that of last year that just kept. I think there were 9-0 in one possession games. It's just like these guys are just winning these one possession games. But
yeah, looking at the AFC now, you got Baltimore up top. They're up 10-0 at the half. Miami, Kansas City, Jacksonville, the Browns, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think Buffalo's definitely getting in. They're the hottest team right now, probably in the conference. Outside of, I mean, who do you think, Cincinnati or Indianapolis drops? I think I could see Cincinnati drop because they got to play Kansas City and the Browns. And I'm just, Dad, are you sold that Jake Bryan's going to be this heroic player down the stretch?
No.
Yeah, I thought. You watched that game yesterday. I felt like I was watching. Nate Mullins, is that his name? Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins, yeah.
Nick Mullins. I mean, you had the game in hand. You gave that away, and then the Bengals just kept letting them hang around. I feel like I was watching two bad teams yesterday in that game. What do you guys think of this though? Here, I think the Browns stay up there at 5. What do you think happens in the 6, 7 spots?
Well, Indy has to play Houston, so we'll see how that goes. And then they obviously have to play Cleveland. Houston has to play Indy and Cleveland. I think Houston with C.J. Stroud is a playoff team.
Even with the injuries?
Yeah. I think their defense is legit too, and I think they are running the ball pretty well. Indy to me needs healthy. I mean, can they get Jonathan Taylor back? I mean, what's going on with that? But they're playing good football, and I can't even believe Browning is balling like he is. But he is. I mean, what 2-3 straight games of 300 or more passing yards? I mean, what in the world? What is going on in the NFL right now?
That's what I'm talking about. Terrible quarterbacks, dude.
It's just like, but he's doing. I mean, it's just out of nowhere. This guy's coming off the bench, just dropping 300. It's like the Browns 5 years ago would have loved that. I mean, where was he 5 years ago for the Browns? I mean, it's just like the Browns have spent 30 years trying to find quarterbacks, and then now all of a sudden backups are just coming up left and right, just balling like Gardner Minshew. It's just like, what? Where was this the last 20 years? I mean, any backup right now is coming in playing great.
Let's see here. The Browns almost lost to a 5-8 team at home, which should have lost. The receiver caught the Hail Mary, but they didn't lose. They won. So,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
And here the Bucks have are they what is the Bucks record? What are they?
7-7.
7-7, yeah.
Almost 500. They've been below 500 all year pretty much. I'm not it's not a good matchup for the Bucks.
Well, the Bucks, they are getting healthy. I mean, I'm not.
The Browns aren't healthy and they're still winning.
The Bucks are a team that I hope actually somehow, some way end up beating Dallas in that 4-5 matchup, because there's not many teams I hate more than Dallas. But
You really think Dallas would lose that game?
no. I don't. But I hope. I can still hope.
My chair's moving around.
But one of these comments Dan said about Denzel Ward, what was he doing?
I have no idea. I know Tyler Scott's from Norton, from Akron.
Good
Shout out to Tyler
grief.
Scott. He can fly. He's a great player in high school too at Norton. I remember watching, but in Cincinnati. But yeah, Denzel, what are you doing? Denzel should know better too. He's from BIA at Ohio State. You're used to hitting guys. I'm usually used to seeing him blast dudes. I don't know what he's doing there.
That was terrible.
That was awful. Yeah.
Well, Schwartz, I put that on the screen and make him explain to every member of the team what the hell he was doing there, because he almost cost him the game with that bullshit.
There's a couple of things that I honestly, I mean, I know Stefanski, the Stefanski stuff. I mean, he's probably going to keep his job, but there's still a lot of things that I just look at and I'm just thinking to myself, what are you doing? I mean, the timeout to end the halftime. Why?
Yeah, you and I were texting on that. I agree with you on that one.
Why do you, with one timeout and 50 seconds on the clock, and they run the ball and get 2 yards, why do you call a timeout, Kevin Stefanski? What is the point?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're giving him another chance to break a 20-yard run, which they did, and somehow should have came away with 3 points. But the other sideline has a worse coach than you and decides not to kick it. Which, whatever. But any good team, you can't do that stuff against good teams or they're going to beat you. They're going to take advantage of it. And it makes no sense to me with one timeout and 50 seconds left. Why are you on the defensive side of the ball calling a timeout? It makes 0 sense. Because Chicago they're backed up. They're just going to run the clock out. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's one of my criticisms of him still is sometimes his game management's a little off. Sometimes just a little off. But
you could say that about most of the coaches in the NFL.
You just took
almost all of them, except for a few.
I think the last month, listening to Coach JB's show and a lot of other shows, former players, which is kind of why I've kind of backed off on Stefanski a little bit. If you really look around the NFL right now, it's horribly coached. I mean, there's terrible coaches all over the NFL right now. It's piss poor coaching all over. I mean, the fact that Brandon Staley had his job that long is insane. No, I don't wish anybody lose, but I mean, come on. The guy, he could have lost his job 2 years ago. I mean, last year he definitely should have been fired. I just the coaching right now in the NFL is so bad. And Chris, you watch college. I think all of us do. I mean, I think the high school, like Matt McChesney said this week, former high schoolers and college players, or was it Zach? One of them said it, that they're just coached fundamentally better.
Chesney said it.
Yeah, they're just not. It's just not happening in the pros in the decision making. What Eberflus did today was, I mean, that's a fireable offense. Really, you cost them a game almost, pretty much. I mean, and you almost got your quarterback killed. Which
it made no sense. But he's going to get fired. He is definitely at the end of the year because they're not many pieces away, and they're going to get the number 1 overall pick.
Which I'm gonna be honest too, Chris. I don't know if I move off a field, to be honest.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have a chance to move back a little bit, have like a New England or somebody come up. You drop back to 2 or 3, get yourself Marvin Harrison Jr. If he does,
you still got the other pick,
and then you still got your other pick. I mean, dude, their defensive pieces with Sweat and Edmonds and Edwards, and Brisker, Jalen Johnson. I mean, they are a good football team. They aren't
I
very
like them.
DJ Moore. I mean, you put Marvin Harrison opposite of that, and you got something, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and Cole Kmet.
Yeah,
No, I
think
agree. I wasn't really sure about their offense. Actually like their offensive coordinator a little bit. I think he's done some nice things with Fields,
and
I think
Harbaugh's
Fields
been
is
linked to them too. So
yeah.
I mean, you put Harbaugh there with that defense, that offense, with Fields, who's a quarterback that Harbaugh will be fine with.
That's his
I
kind
think
of guy, or mobile quarterback.
it makes me as a Lions fan, it's just like, can we just enjoy like 5 to 10 years straight? But
Yeah.
then we got Chicago, who they're the team that worries me the most in the NFC North in the future. Green Bay, whatever. Minnesota, I don't care about, but Chicago worries me because, like I said, like I told you guys for a couple weeks, this isn't going to be the easy game for the Browns because they're good. The Browns or the Bears are good. They're a good football team. Their record doesn't show it, but again, coaching decisions like that wins and loses. That's how wins and losses are. It's close.
I
in
don't
the
know
NFL.
how you watch that game today and say we need to get Caleb Williams in our locker room.
Exactly.
I'm serious.
Team's not even ranked.
Mike and I got into it on the phone last night because Mike was trying to go on this Caleb. I said, Mike, and I said, Mike, Caleb Williams, he's a horrible locker room guy. You could, it's what it looks like. I'm not gonna say he is, but I mean his antics, and I just don't know how he's gonna fit in an NFL locker room. To be honest with you,
He's not a winner. He's not a winner.
He's not a winner. He looks more like a me guy.
Why do you want someone that
he's out in
that isn't a winner?
Hollywood?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields. People could say what they want about Fields. Fields is one of the toughest players I ever saw go through Ohio State. And he's got incredible talent, and you're seeing it come together in the last year. He just walked into Matt Nagy, who only had a job because he got Andy Reid's donuts every morning. I mean, look at Matt Nagy now as an OC in Kansas City. It's not going well. It's atrocious. They probably wish they had Bieniemy still, but that's who was coaching him his first year on a horrible team.
Yeah, they're like I said, they're closer than people think, and I again I think that I think that Harbaugh probably goes either there or Cleveland, and it looks like if
probably
we'll see
I think
where,
he's going to the Bears or the Raiders.
We'll see where Cleveland goes, but here, as I've said it a bunch of times when everyone was like, fire Harbaugh for Michigan, what's the alternative? I think if Cleveland has a chance at someone better, you need to can Stefanski because
you got to be upgrading. If you can upgrade,
it has to be a Belichick or somebody like that. To me, the upgrade. I'm not firing Stefanski to go hire another first-time head coach.
No.
He's probably better than them already because he has 5 years under his belt now, I think, or four. And he'll have 2 playoff appearances probably, and consider all the circumstances this year and the quarterback run with the GM and all that shit. But yeah, I mean, it has to be somebody that's completely, definitively better. But what do you mean? I got another one about team for Belichick though. What about Belichick? Because he's definitely obviously leaving New England now. It's been reported they're parting ways. Some people think he's going to retire. I don't. I think he wants to try to win one more and break that record. If you're the Jets and you can get Bill Belichick with that defense and Aaron Rodgers coming back, would you pull the trigger and do it? Because I think Salah might be decent, but I think Belichick is obviously a clear upgrade for them, and they have to win now with an aging quarterback coming off an injury. What about Belichick to the Jets?
Oh, and he could stick it to New England,
right?
Yeah, I
coached there before.
I think with Aaron Rodgers, the Jets would easily be in the playoff hunt for sure.
Yeah,
because he has to go to a team that's set to win now. I don't think he's going to LA because I don't think Belichick fits LA, the city. He's too rugged.
Did you hear that Aaron Rodgers played scout team corner and picked off Zach Wilson? Yeah.
Oh my god.
One-handed. He did a one-handed interception.
One-handed interception on him in practice.
Yeah.
He's that bad.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Oh my god.
He got knocked out today, didn't he? The MILF
Who?
hunter?
I think I don't know if he got
No,
knocked
that
out
was
or I think they
you're
just
thinking of
replaced him.
Tommy DeVito.
No, I thought I saw he got concussed.
Simeon was in.
Yeah, but I
Maybe he
think the
did.
MILF
I
hunter
know
got knocked
DeVito.
out.
Oh,
Well, he got a
DeVito
concussion,
got
got
rocked
knocked out.
too.
yeah, DeVito.
Well,
Yeah,
DeVito got hit too. Remember DeVito hit? We
Yeah.
saw at halftime.
I'll laugh my ass off.
Tommy Cutlets. Yeah, I don't know.
I think Belichick is. I could totally see him a team like that, or really any team other than the Chargers, because the Chargers are in cap shambles. They're
they got cheap
mess.
ownership too.
Yeah, and I mean they got to make a decision on Bosa, Mack, all those guys. They're in trouble.
Who do you think the Chargers target?
Ben Johnson.
If you're Mike Tomlin, would you consider that job?
No.
Leave Pittsburgh? I don't know if I would either because their ownership's just not as good as Pittsburgh's. Obviously,
Pittsburgh's not far away either. They just need a quarterback.
Yeah, that could be somewhere. They've been linked to Fields.
Yeah, but see, that's the hard thing, though. How many good just need a quarterback? Like we sit here and we talk about how terrible quarterback play is. Just getting a quarterback's a tough thing these days.
No,
I know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just saying, like they're not. They're a better.
No, I know they're good. There's still I know that. I absolutely, I know that. But what I'm saying is he may feel like, I got to go somewhere where there already is a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it just seems like, I mean, my God, they thought they had the Messiah with Kenny Pickett, and how'd that turn out? So
horrible.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, if you had to look around, I mean, I think Harbaugh definitely. I think he's going to go to the Bears. That makes sense. I mean, and I think that's the best fit for him. Who do you think would be the Raiders coach? I mean, you got the Panthers. I think.
Well, Ben Johnson, I know that, which is the Lions' offensive coordinator. He turned down the Panthers job last year. So it worries me that they're going to try to give him a shot again this year. I hear the Chargers are going to go after him. So I think the Lions OC is probably going to bounce somewhere to be a head coach somewhere. And that guy's awesome. But I mean, if you're an offensive guy, of course the Chargers is attractive because their offense is fine, but their defense and their salary cap is just, I mean, Joey Bosa is not worth, the money that they pay him because he's just constantly hurt and he just isn't him. And
I think too. I think the Bears trade that number 1 pick, and I think they trade it to the Raiders.
Yeah,
I think the Raiders. I think want Caleb Williams. I think the Raiders really want Lincoln Riley too. That was reported before the season. I think they want that Lincoln Riley thing out there in Vegas because it's Vegas, and I could see that happening still.
But I don't know if you're the Bears if you want to trade that deep back. I could see the Bears trading back a little bit, but I think that they want. I think they're one of the top receivers in this draft away from really having a nice offense and nice team. But it'll be interesting. I mean, Arizona, are they going to keep Kyler Murray? I mean, because
well, not only that. I mean, what if I think after this week, I think Marvin is coming out. But what if Marv didn't come out? Then it might change a lot of your decision making. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think he is coming out, but after this week, some of the stuff I've seen, but I don't know, man. I don't. It's gonna be tough because there's gonna be so much coaching changes going around the league. I mean, where does Vrabel go? I think does Vrabel go to New England? If that makes sense. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of changes going on this offseason.
Yeah, I saw Vrabel and I saw who's the other name I saw in New England for New England. That kind of made a little bit of sense. I forgot.
Hopefully not
Vrabel.
Josh McDaniels.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I did see Matt Patricia's going to now call the defense in Philly, which instantly made me happy.
Yeah, they're done.
As a Lions fan,
They're done. I mean, they're done. Yeah. They're really Matt Patricia's calling the defense now?
yeah, their defensive coordinator they're going to put in the booth, and they're letting Patricia calling the plays.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Might be
And,
the Lions. Lions go in the NFC Championship now. I'm telling you. I think they are now. Because I don't. What I saw from the Cowboys today, I'm like, typical Cowboys.
I tell you, they're in prime time. I think they're 5-0 in primetime games, and this year, and they're in primetime night games. Obviously, in Thanksgiving they didn't obviously win, but they're tough. They're built a lot like San Francisco, in my opinion.
I got to point this out. This breaking news just came out. Speaking of Lincoln Riley going to the Raiders, this might be a clue. Just came on my phone. USC quarterback, number 1 recruit in 2023, Malachi Nelson, is entering the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, USC sucks.
But he might be leaving, though, for a reason. He was a big recruit coming out last year. He's a redshirt freshman this year. Maybe he might come to Ohio State. I don't know. But I don't know. It might be a sign there. As I say that 5 minutes ago, you might know something's coming down the pike. Because I think if he leaves, I heard Cliff Kingsbury's getting the job at USC. But good luck to him. But
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, and Chris, I agree with you. If there's one game I root for the team up north, it's if they went, like you said, you root for Ohio State one game. Whoever USC plays first, welcome them to the conference with just like an absolute ass beating.
Oh yeah.
While we're on this topic, how in the world do next year Michigan plays Texas, USC, Oregon, Washington, and Ohio State? I looked at your schedule today. What in the world? How did you guys get to end up? And we play Penn State. You guys somehow only play Penn State and Washington or Oregon. I mean, you guys play Akron and Marshall. The first,
yeah,
in Western Michigan.
We open up with Akron,
Western Michigan, and Marshall. And for whatever reason, you got a bye in between the Western Michigan and Marshall game. Which, I mean, what are you guys going to prepare for during that bye? I mean that's
a little vacation. We need it. You know what I mean?
I saw that.
Well, it's still warm out. You take another vacay.
No wonder why Marvin Harrison thought about coming back.
Well, yeah, and he's got better quarterback play too.
He instantly thought to himself, "Wow, I can have 700 yards in the first 3 games."
Yeah, he would win the Heisman next year. Better quarterback play in them first 3 games.
Dude, he should come back
and make that much money in NIL.
I mean, it was unbelievable. I'm like, all right, we play Texas, USC, Oregon, Washington, and Penn State, and Ohio State next year, and somehow Ohio State gets Oregon, Penn State, and Michigan. That's it. I'm like, what in the world?
But, yeah, probably the following year it'll be Ohio State have to play that roster.
Yeah. Which next year again, I've said it. Next year, I think that we're gonna.
Well, I wonder how much too, because they just scheduled all that recently, and I wonder how much of that too is what they expect Michigan to be next year after all that. The NCAA is gonna do their punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what I mean? It might be like Ohio State in 2011, where it was just kind of down year. I don't know though. I mean, because they got some nice young players. You got the quarterback. You got it's not like they recruited bad.
No.
So I mean, but I don't know. I mean, even if Harbaugh leaves, I think Sharon Moore is the head coach.
Oh yeah.
I think they'll be all right. I mean, he's going to keep them going like he did, and they're always going to be. As long as they keep that physicality up front, playing against Texas and USC and Oregon, you should have a shot. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't. Who they got a receiver coming? I think they just need to get that kid a good receiver on the outside, because I think defensively they're always going to be pretty good.
Well, yeah, Mason Graham, and he's probably
that kid. He's going to be
Oh my gosh,
He's gonna be unbelievable coming out in the draft next year.
I absolutely love that guy. He's a stud.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be big in Michigan versus Alabama. I think if we win that game, he's going to have to be. Yeah, he has to be big.
Because anytime we played an SEC, like last year, Tyleek Williams, who's good, he might be a first rounder. He comes out this year, totally disrupted that Georgia team, and when they needed him, the back seven they have a great game. But yeah, Mason Graham, he has to be big in that game, especially against Milroe running the ball.
Where is Mike today?
I don't know. I tried calling him, and he just doesn't answer. He was out earlier with the Dodds.
Mr. Dodds.
Mr. Dodds and him were at Panini's. Let me try.
Mr. Dodds.
After all those bad facts he spit out on Thursday night, I was wondering what kind of stuff he was spitting out today.
He just woke up. He's coming now.
That's
it. So you better get your ass up here. They're calling you up here, Mike. But yeah, I don't know.
Just woke up. It's 10:10.
Out.
Yeah, he went home and crashed out. Yeah, it's Mike. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, there he is. Mike, what's up?
Sorry, gentlemen. I had to sleep off the 7 Yinlings I drank.
You don't sound like you just woke up. How many? Wait, what did you drink?
7 Yinlings.
Damn, you
had to sleep it off.
Up.
I got one hell of a headache. Woo!
You and Dodds were turning up. You and Mr. Dodds.
Yeah. It was me and Shan Rander decided to go watch the game.
All right. So, well, we were actually we're getting in some college football, but we'll go back now to the Browns. My dad and I both said, Mike, that Stefanski, hell of a fourth quarter today. Njoku playing out of his mind the last 2 weeks. I think they're going to win out, Mike. And I think the only team in the conference right now that I'm worried about is Buffalo. Like I said before this game, remember I told you that the other night.
I fell asleep during the game. Did they dice up the Cowboys? I didn't watch the end. I haven't checked the score.
They beat them up pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
They're red hot right now. They beat the Chiefs last week and the Cowboys this week. They're probably the hottest team in right now.
Wide open.
Yeah, damn. But Mike? What was your take on the? Just go ahead, Mike. I'll even give you the full screen, Mike. Just go ahead. I know you're the head of the Stefanski fan club.
I am.
You haven't backed down all year.
I have not backed down all year, and I will continuously not back down. 9-5, 4 different starting quarterbacks, backup running back. We had only Wyatt Teller in from the original offensive line today, and we still pulled it out. Did Joe Flacco look good 3 quarters in that game? No, he did not. He looked awful. Fourth quarter, though, that's all that matters. He pulled it out. I underestimated how good that Bears defense has been playing. Montez Sweat is an absolute dog, and that Jaquan Brisker kid, really good football player. But we still pulled it out. Marquise Goodwin with his first really big catch of the year came when it needed. David Njoku continues to be an absolute dog. But yeah, no, I thought it was a great team win in the fourth quarter, especially Coop with that. What was it, like 30-yard touchdown catch and run, got some yak. And that Keese catch set up a field goal, but to win the game. Defense, I thought, played lights out, especially with everybody missing. Alex Wright continues to only get better.
He had a tackle.
Huh?
Big time tackle on that third down.
Oh, big time tackle. He had a strip sack as well. Dalvin Tomlinson was an absolute dog today, had a sack. That was a strip sack that almost got turned over for us. Let's see who else played really well on the defense. I thought our safeties played really well. I thought Ronnie Hickman had a couple of really good plays. I thought DeAnthony Bell was absolute lights out in the run game. He was almost playing like a third linebacker out there. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah continues to
go ahead and pay that man.
Yeah, we're going to pay him very soon. Continues to have a hell of a season. Myles Garrett's Myles Garrett, and even though Roger Goodell was in the stands, apparently the refs still felt like they didn't need to give us a holding call, even though they were pulling at him the whole goddamn day. I thought Siaki Ika played well for the plays that he was in there. Isaiah McGuire had some plays on special teams that was good. And our special teams, shout out special teams, because they don't get enough love. And Corey Bojorquez continues to be the best punter in the NFL, which you think doesn't matter, but my God, was he flipping the field when we needed him to?
It does matter.
He only had like one bad punt all day, and I think that it just got caught up in the wind. But he just continues to be great. But yeah, I thought it was great.
Special teams too. They're great in coverage.
Yeah, and like. I thought it was a great win. That was a red hot Chicago team. They had won 3 of their last 4, and we continue to be the best home team in the NFL. We have lost only 1 game at home this year. So, and 3 more. That's all we got.
Which is how it should be. The dog pound should be the toughest place to come play in.
And statistically, it is this year.
Yeah, that's how it should be. So at least we're establishing that this year. But I thought too, Mike, the 2 biggest plays in the game, one of them was a decision. I thought Eberflus's decision to not kick the field goal at the end of the half.
Yeah, I don't know. That was fucking weird.
That was crazy. I think that, and I also think the Goodwin bomb at the end of the game.
Yeah, I would even more so say that that David Njoku on 3rd and 17 and went for like 30 yards. That throw and catch by David. That's my biggest play, and I will give Alex Wright his flowers on that 5-yard tackle for loss on 2nd down to set up a 3rd and long. Those are my plays of the game. And hopefully Joe Flacco has a better next Sunday, because that was a great 4th
quarter.
I think
he had a great 4th quarter, but like
I think the defensive play of the game was definitely the rookie tripping up Justin Fields on 4th and 1.
Oh, Cam Mitchell, yeah, he's got some talent. That kid's got something. I like him a lot.
I mean, if he doesn't trip him up, then obviously you don't. I mean, does a field goal even win the game? I mean, you don't know what happens next. That was a huge play, huge trip up.
Yeah. Yeah, Cam Mitchell, he had a hell of a game. And I think Denzel Ward was on like a snap count, because they kept like pulling him. So I don't know. That was weird, but
yeah,
I think they're just trying to keep him fresh.
What do you think, though, Mike, of the play calling in the 4th quarter from your man Stefanski? I thought it was lights out. I thought he really found the soft spot in the zone. I love the play call there on that game-winning drive with the field goal, getting the Njoku involved. What did you think of Stefanski? I thought the first half was a little iffy. They couldn't get nothing going. Couldn't establish the run. They didn't really. I thought maybe try to commit to a little bit better, but I think they got to figure out this offensive line a little bit too. It's just really banged up right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. You can tell they wanted to run the ball.
I might even try to be honest with you, Mike. I think see how it works in practice. If I'm in practice this week, I'm swaying Harris to left guard, and I'm putting Whippler at center and see how that looks.
Yeah, hopefully Joel. I think Joel will be healthy. I think he'll be back next week. He never stopped. Like, he never took his pads off or anything. Like, they didn't take him in the back. I think he was just banged up, and this team likes to be, especially this coaching staff likes to be better safe than sorry. They've already lost enough guys, so it's like throw Michael Dunn in there for 1 game and whatever. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. You could tell they wanted to run the ball. I mean, they had, they tried a bunch of different stuff. They threw Pierre Strong out there even just to see if there could be
robbed on that play. There was no holding on that play.
Oh, that was bullshit. Yeah. That
bullshit.
Wyatt Teller. Yeah. No, I know.
It just got manhandled. That's all that happened.
But they throwed 3 guys out there to see if they could get anything happening in the run, but like they were getting great penetration. Montez Sweat, I was making fun of that trade and how much money they paid that man, but he's been a game changer for him. He's been an absolute game changer for him. And I'm really glad how Kevin adjusted, finding the soft, like you said, finding the soft spots. He saw some like weaknesses with the deep shots and weaknesses on the right side of the secondary, which opened up that Cooper big touchdown and also that Keese bomb. But I thought Kevin adjusted well. I thought he called a great game, won the game when he needed to. And here, with all of our injuries, some games you're going to win ugly. And, luckily we have a defense that we can win ugly. And Joe Flacco, to his credit, even though he didn't have a good game, he never shied away. He really stepped up when he needed to. But I thought it was really good showing from the team all around.
Yeah, I gotta ask too, Mike. Chris was saying a little bit ago we got in a discussion about the only way you can get rid of Stefanski is if you're replacing him with somebody that's significantly better. But right now I just don't see that out there. I don't, you don't know. Belichick, but that's still even a myth. I mean, I don't see. It looks like he's definitely coming back next year.
Oh yeah, he's getting extended. I mean, you have to at this point. I mean, it looks like we're going to win 10 plus games. I don't see us. We might drop one on the road to Houston if CJ Stroud plays, but even then, I don't even know if we're going to drop that game because Nico Collins and Tank Dell are still hurt. So, I don't know who he's throwing to, even if he does come back healthy.
When you get pressure on him, too, that line's a little.
Oh, is Laramie Tunsil still? Is he back or is he still hurt? Is he out for the season?
I don't know.
He's there.
He's there.
He is healthy. All right. Yeah. No, I mean, I love Laramie Tunsil. I think he's one of the best left tackles in the game. But, yeah, I mean, I don't see us. I really don't see us losing a game for the rest of the year. I think we really do win out at this point.
I don't either.
I mean, the Jets are in fucking free fall.
They
I
better, and I mean this. They better run the ball against the Jets. They're not.
Oh
gonna
yeah.
Be in the
I
playoffs.
can't believe Quinnen Williams has been a non-factor this year.
They're not going to win many games in the playoffs if they continue to throw Flacco 40 times. They have got to establish the run.
I agree.
I mean,
and they got to do it in these next three. Games.
And the Jets. I mean, the Jets are the perfect ones because they have great secondary. I mean, they have a good linebackers and D line, but they're a team that you should be able to beat.
I would say in all three of these games coming up, we just come out and just punch these teams right in the mouth. That's what that'd be my mindset. I don't care who they got. We're just coming at them downhill. This is the mindset we're going into the playoffs with, kind of like what Buffalo did to Dallas today.
178 yards on the ground by James Cook.
You just got to go. Just give them the ball and go.
I mean, if I would have told you that Josh Allen's going to throw for under 100 yards and they're going to win 31-10, you would have all told me I was crazy.
They won 31-10. My God.
I mean, here, part of it could be just the constant change at O-line. Maybe they're working on that in practice. They're trying to find the chemistry. I mean, here, Jesse, you're an O-lineman. You know that. I don't give a shit what kind of players you have, how good they are, what kind of
when you're down to your backup center and your third string center, you got problems on the.
Well, they got to find cohesion too. You know what I mean?
That's my whole point.
So the running game's not going to work, but they have got to get it to work. In these next 3 games. So hopefully they can.
That's why I think this week of practice they got to. If Antonio can't go, I think Whippler's a much more natural center from somebody who played center for almost 10 years. Harris played guard in college and he's pretty good. I think Harris is really good in the run game because it's more just want in the run game. That's really all it is with the lineman. Just you against that guy and just going one-on-one on him. I would put Harris at left because I don't think Michael Dunn's is. I want my best 5 out there. So they got to figure that out though. This week at practice they better be in the film room. How can we get this running game back to where it should be, where it was most of the year? It just recently last 3 games, it just hasn't been there.
Yeah, and I trust Coach Callahan to get that done. I mean, he's the best in the business.
He's the best O-line coach in the league, hands down.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, Stefanski's the third best coach on his team.
Chris, you're just such a hater. There's no like it doesn't even faze me anymore because there's nothing that anybody can say that can pull away from the objective fact that Stefanski's a great coach. Like,
Great
Well,
coach.
I don't know about great yet, Mike. Great is like
I think he's great.
No, he hasn't earned that yet. There's very few great coaches in football. He's not a great coach yet.
We're going to be the second only team in NFL history to make the playoffs, starting as many quarterbacks as we have.
Listen, I'm no longer here. I'm giving him credit. I think he's done a fabulous job. But what's better than great? If someone's great, what's better?
Elite.
The best, elite. Yeah,
No,
I think he's great.
He's not great yet, but I'm giving him credit though. He's done a great job managing.
I'll use your adjective. I'll say he's fabulous. Like, fine,
He's
can be
done a fabulous job with everything that's been thrown at him. So, but he's not great yet.
But at the same time, you have to credit also his coaching staff. The staff behind him is
legit.
Legit.
Hell yeah,
but still though,
I credit all the dudes he hires.
He's managing these guys though. He's the, you know what I mean?
He did hire them too.
He hired them and he's managing them.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
so
he brought in Schwartz, and he brought in Callahan, he brought in O'Shea, he brought in O'Shea looked
Stump Mitchell.
Those receivers are really starting to play a lot.
I'm going to go back to what I said before you guys came on. I think throughout this season, he has gained more and more respect from the players and the other coaches.
He's adapting
because they know how difficult it is. This is more than anybody, and they've seen all these obstacles, and these hurdles thrown at, especially just the QB, and they've seen what he's been able to do. So you got to tip your hat to him. He's the GSM out there. He's the you know what I mean? He's managing everything. And everyone's falling in line, and that's why they're winning games like this. Everyone's falling in line behind him, and because if he was doing something so terribly wrong, this shit wouldn't be happening.
Right.
These types of wins, it just with everything that's going on. So, is he great? No. Has he done a good job this year? He's done a good job, and I'll give him credit now. So, but here. In like any profession, if there's an upgrade out there, a significant upgrade, everybody's going to get replaced. So if some significant upgrade,
say, though, I'm just watching Trevor Lawrence just get slammed into the ground. And I've seen Joe Burrow and the putrid Cincinnati organization, Kentucky Bungles, not do a great job protecting him. I will give Stefanski this credit, though. They're finding ways in that pass protection, though, with this offensive line, especially in that fourth quarter, to give Flacco enough time. It just popped in my head because I'm watching this Jacksonville game, and Jacksonville hasn't been able to protect Lawrence all year. Cincinnati, same thing. You know, I'll give Stefanski that though. I like the pass protections, Mike. What do you think of that? I think the run game needs to be a little better, but I think the pass pros have been pretty good though, considering this O-line's been.
Oh yeah, I mean. I knew the run game was going to be difficult when Ethan went out, and especially when Joel went out. I mean, and Jerome he's been off and on all year. And Big Ream don't got the juice like he used to, but I mean, pass pro. I mean, they're great at like getting them ready. Wait, what's going on? I don't have the game on. What just happened?
Trevor Lawrence just getting body slammed on the ground because his O-line, they can't protect him.
Are they still losing like 10-0?
10-7.
Oh, they scored something. Oh, good for them. But I mean, it was a great game. I mean, it was an ugly win, but like you're gonna have some of these.
Popped in my head, Mike. I talked about this on our show last week. Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow are both trending in the wrong direction because they can't be protected.
Yeah. I mean, you and me were talking about Joe Burrow. Like, it's very possible he can be the next Andrew Luck. I mean, these injuries
It's
are
not that we
piling
want
up.
to say that because I like Joe Burrow and I like
I
Trevor
don't.
Lawrence.
I hope not. Like here,
Right.
you know, even if he plays for a division rival, like I never want someone, especially that great for the game, to go down like that.
But
You know,
man,
like
they
that's
are
So
trending in
it's
the wrong direction.
back
it's
to Stefanski and the argument of he's played with backup quarterbacks.
4 of them.
Yeah, I understand. But if you want to look at it that way, who are they in front of that in the standings that doesn't have a backup quarterback in the AFC? They're in front of Cincinnati. They have a backup. They're in front of Indianapolis. That's their backup.
Okay.
I mean,
What's your point?
My point is that everyone's winning with backups right now. I mean, it's not like you're. Are you confident that they beat the Bengals with Joe Flacco if they have Burrow?
Yes.
Yeah. Burrow ain't playing.
I don't care who's back there. He's 6-1 in his tenure against the Bengals. I'm not worried about the Bengals. Like I said, I don't care if it's Joe Burrow back there. I don't care if it's Jake Browning back there. I don't care who it is back there. It's a non-factor. They just can't beat us. I'm not worried about them. We have their number.
But Burrow's not playing though.
Yeah, it's Jake Browning.
It's Jake Browning.
Well,
I'm not worried about.
That's my point. My point is all these other teams that they're not in front of any team that actually has their starting quarterback.
No, but I think the difference though is the Browns are on their 4th.
That's the difference.
This guy
number
hold on,
4.
This guy hasn't been in the building all year. Jake Browning's been in the system all year. Gardner Minshew's been in the system all
Joe
year.
Flacco's been here 4 weeks.
Davis Mills has been in Houston.
And he's 2-1. He got him to 2-1.
Has been in Houston forever.
Because
Mike,
he's a veteran quarterback and he's better than DTR and PJ Walker in his sleep.
Great.
He doesn't need.
He also it's still learning a new offense in a month.
And
his timing's
off the couch, dog.
The timing's not 100% there yet. I think there's actually more to the coaching staff.
He's a better quarterback than all 3 of those other teams.
I think
if Joe Flacco goes to the Colts or the Texans or the Bengals, I don't know if he looks as good.
I agree. I mean, he played for the Jets last year, and he looked like trash.
I think the Colts have a nice coaching staff, and I think Houston's getting there. But if you take Cincinnati, for instance, our coaching staff is significantly better than Cincinnati's.
No, that's not my point. My point is Joe Flacco's a better quarterback than Jake Browning.
Yes.
Joe Flacco's a better quarterback than Gardner Minshew.
2 things here, though.
I agree with that.
Joe Flacco's better quarterback than stinking Aiden O'Connell.
The difference, we'll go back to this. The difference is the lack of continuity at quarterback. When you've had to change, I mean, you're changing a quarterback every other game. The lack of continuity, that's the difference. And then I think the other thing that's helping Stefanski though is Flacco. I think Flacco is making it easier for Stefanski.
That's what there you go. That's what I'm getting at.
So
you're exactly right. What I'm saying is they don't win this game today with PJ Walker or DTR.
Well, no, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is
they don't win this game. They don't win the game last week.
But Stefanski, though, think about that, though. How many times has the quarterback changed from week to week this season?
That's the whole point.
That's the tough thing.
I don't think if Flacco went to Cincinnati and they had better weapons on the outside, I don't think he's playing as well because I don't think their coaching staff's as good.
He'd be sacked 6 times a game.
I think they're complementary to each other right now.
That's the whole point. It's balanced, is what it is.
But you got to give Stefanski credit because it's changed so many times throughout the season. You got to give him some credit.
Well, I give him some credit. I do, but my point is in my opinion, it's more the fact that they got a vet like Joe Flacco in there. Than it is anything else because, like I said, with PJ Walker or DTR, they're not winning the last 2 football games that they played.
Well,
how is that not a credit to Stefanski and Andrew Berry signing him? Like, why are you taking that away? Like, that makes no sense.
No. I mean, the point is, it's okay if the Bengals decide to sign me to play quarterback, they ain't gonna win shit. You know what I mean? It's like you can't. it's not a. It's really not a. It don't matter. The point is they've won the games.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Stefanski's done a pretty good job getting Flacco comfortable. I mean, it's not like I get he's a veteran, but the guy was literally a month ago raising kids at home. I mean, he wasn't like nobody thought he was not. Who thought Joe Flacco was going to get signed a month ago and be back in the NFL where he is right now? Anybody?
Of course, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're right, but it's complimentary. Like I think it's impressive what we've seen from all of them the last 3 weeks.
Yes, but
You
what
know what I
I'm
mean?
getting at is Stefanski needed a veteran guy back there.
Well, yeah, because he's got to win now.
Well, it's easier to
Well,
run
here-
an offense with a vet quarterback over a rookie.
Hey,
yes.
but
Thank
listen
you.
though, this goes beyond the quarterback. The offensive line is decimated. The best running back in the game out second game of the year. I mean, they're destroyed everywhere. Your O line. I mean, look at your O line, and they're still getting it done. You know what I mean?
O-line is impressive. The
I mean,
O-line thing is impressive for sure.
That's more
They got
impressive
the
than the
best-
quarterback bullshit.
They
So
got the best O-line coach in the last probably 10
I don't
years
care.
in the NFL or more.
You got to give the whole gosh darn coaching staff has done a tremendous job.
Oh yeah, they have.
What's happened, and I've been critical of Stefanski earlier in the year, and I think rightfully so. But you know, the dude he's earned my respect this year, and here he's the head guy. He's doing something right to keep everybody rowing in the same direction.
Exactly.
And
You know how many times this team could have quit? I mean, there are so many times, and I almost wouldn't have blamed them. Your thoroughbred back goes down. Your starting quarterback gets hurt after arguably his best game on your team since he got here, and yet all of these injuries, all this adversity, your team still echoing what Stefanski says in every meeting. 1-0 each week, guys. Let's go. Let's do this. And every guy in that locker room has just completely bought in. I mean, look at the Steelers. Look at the Mike Tomlin process. George Pickens isn't run blocking. The team looks disheveled. Everybody isn't in. The Steeler way, quote unquote, is dead. Like nobody gives a fuck. That locker room is toxic.
Hey.
Nobody gives a shit.
It's
And
been
like,
toxic for the last 10 years too.
You know what Stefanski's doing right now? Remember all those months, Chris and Mike, when we needed 100 new cars in 4 days or 5 days?
Yep.
Who talked about it the most? Brett. Brett's the one that talked about hitting the most. His emails coming out, what we need each day. Who talked about it the most? And what we all do? We all filed right behind his ass.
Yep.
He managed all of his coaches properly. We followed right behind his ass because he believed it, so we believed it, and we hit every month.
Yeah.
That's the same thing
No
that's
matter
happening
what.
right now.
Me
And
still hitting 15 cars when I called off 2 Saturdays in a
saying.
row.
That's the same thing, and that's how it's supposed to work.
Exactly.
And if Brett wasn't like that, we would have never hit those goals.
Exactly.
So
I
I
agree.
think that's what's going on there. I don't care that he makes a mishap here and there. You find me a fucking coach that doesn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
You find me a coach that doesn't. And here, I watched that clown down in Miami the other week, and I'm like, or earlier in the week, and I'm like, why is everybody trashing Stefanski? This guy's an absolute.
We got rich people problems, Dan. I hear as a Browns fan, like Dan Malott, if we have a QB controversy, so be it. I don't care. We have gone so far. We have gone so long without having a motherfucker that can throw the ball. Those are rich.
I'm just saying, what else can we ask from this guy?
Is there more? Is there actually a QB controversy though?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it really depends how far we go in the playoffs. But again, I can't remember which college coach said it, or maybe it was Jerry Jones. I don't remember. But somebody said that if they have too many guys that can play quarterback, those are rich people problems. So that's where I'm at. That's where my headspace is at.
What do you think if Deshaun didn't get if Deshaun didn't get hurt after that Baltimore game as well as he played in that second half, and he was 5-1 this year?
I mean, he's 5-1 as a starter. I don't necessarily think it's
good. How much better would they be right now?
I mean, Deshaun adds a whole other element with the running and play extension. Joe Flacco's done it a couple times. Surprisingly, I never thought I'd see that out of him. But you know,
Deshaun can't make those throws. Like he can't make some of those throws that Flacco makes. Like that one in the Njoku today in the fourth quarter. Watson just can't make those throws, dude. He's
Which
just
one?
the one where Njoku caught it, went through that tackle and went down like 30 yards deep in their territory in the fourth quarter. The one went right over the defender's head.
Well, he can make that throw.
I'm just saying. Okay, let's go to the one with Amari Cooper's one. They threaded in there. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's where I think Flacco is so much better. The dude is just an elite.
I'm not worried about a QB controversy. It's one of those things that, like,
I'm not either. But I'm saying, I'm just saying. I think I'm not. I don't know if I'm sitting there thinking about that today. How would we have played if Watson was playing? Like,
I mean, it'd be different, no doubt. I mean, like Watson's more prone to like run. I mean, and that's not a bad thing. Is he just wins a different way? You know, like his stats are more like 2 touchdowns, a pick, 250, and 40 yards.
There was a point in that game today in the first half where they couldn't get anything going. You're kind of like, "What I tell you, Dad."
If Deshaun was out there, he would find a way.
Yeah, well, we'd be able to run the ball a little bit better now.
Yeah, he could use his legs. I mean, just like
we're gonna find out in the playoffs if Joe Flacco how far he can take them, because that's when you'll know.
He'll go as far as the defense takes him. I really do believe that. And here, if there's a QB controversy, I'm really not worried about it. I mean, look at people don't
pay Deshaun Watson $46 million. There is no controversy.
No,
right,
no, exactly.
Right. I don't think there will be either. But it's one of those things too, where Dan
was talking about that. I think he was more or less talking about the play of Joe Flacco has been good.
Oh yeah,
I agree with what Bernie. I agree with what Bernie Kosar said this week, though.
What did Big Burn say?
Burn, and obviously, I mean, I'd like to see anybody debate Bernie. Bernie said bring Flacco back and put him in, sign him as the backup. And I agree with what Bernie said. If there's somebody that can help Deshaun Watson finally get back consistently and be that guy that we know he can be, it's Joe Flacco. He needs a veteran in there, a guy older than him, more mature than him in the game to help him get back in.
I mean, look what he did with Lamar. I mean,
exactly. And I'm sure if you ask Lamar Jackson right now,
Lamar loves Joe.
Joe Flacco helped me out a lot in my career. I think Bernie Kosar hit the nail on the head. And I got the whole everybody's going to say, well, if Deshaun throws a pick, everybody's going to yell for Flacco and blah, blah, blah. Look.
I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. I mean,
I don't care what some idiot fan in Section 503
Yeah, says. Exactly. I mean,
okay, if you've been in a winning locker room, having a veteran quarterback or people above the quarterback to help him, that's what you want.
And it'll also help when T. Higgins aside for 4 years here.
Yeah, well, that might be too. Joe Flacco would be brilliant for be in the same room with Deshaun Watson.
It's just would he take that role though? Because there might be other teams now that are next year that we want to start this guy.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, that's why they got to sign him right now.
They need a stopgap guy. But
also, I think it depends on fit, because maybe he wants to say, because again, last year he played for the Jets, didn't work out so well because of the play calling, how their offense is set up.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was maybe, I'm sure he talked to some other teams before he came to Cleveland, but he clearly likes Cleveland because he likes the coaching staff. And I don't know.
Well, here, you know what? He had that monster contract that he got.
Quarterbacks in the locker room to start the year or at the deadline. I don't know why Barry was starting quarterback. I think he should. I told Mike before this we need a veteran quarterback. I don't know why he didn't do it. But I think he'll find out now. So
I don't know though. If I'm him though, because the dude got paid when he played. I mean, he had that monster contract. If somebody's going to pay me a couple $1 million a year at 39 years old to just be on a winning team and be a tutor, I'm doing it. In a great city like Cleveland, I'm doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's
not going to go to a team with a bad O-line at his age.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Just hang out and have fun. And
he's got a Super Bowl and everything. He don't really need to play. He doesn't really.
Yeah, and he's already said how much he likes the culture. And, hats off to frickin' Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski for building something that Cleveland's been lacking for so long, a culture, which is actually it's kind of hilarious to me that as soon as Cleveland has a culture, the Steelers culture is dying. Ben Roethlisberger's on his freaking podcast saying maybe the Steeler way is dead. Did you hear that, Joseph?
Yeah, I don't
buy that. Steelers are still. They're
For the love of God, dude. They're
Rooney's.
500 and they suck.
Love it.
The Rooneys create that. The Steelers call.
I love it. I love that there. Well, I mean, nobody.
I'm not really high on organizations telling how much culture they have, though. I'm just
glad to finally have it. How's the Jags game going? By the way,
it's like the Miami Heat. The
Mitchell
Miami Heat
just tore his
constantly
ACL.
Who just tore their ACL?
Mitchell, their rookie running back, Ravens rookie running back. That did not.
Oh, Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah. I don't really know if he tore his ACL, but
did he get carted off?
Well, it doesn't look good. Why don't you turn the game on, Mike?
I can't.
Our TV way behind.
Mine's not.
His knee just completely buckled.
Yeah.
Oh damn. That kid's special too. I like him.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm not really. I mean, it's like the Miami Heat culture. What tell us about your culture? Okay. When I look at Pittsburgh in the last 10 years, when's the last time they won a playoff game, Mike? Was it 13 years ago?
2011.
So 12 years ago was the last time they won a playoff.
They've made the playoffs like twice in the past
I
10 years, but they have not won a game in 12.
Well, I thought when Pittsburgh started to decline to me was when they lost that game at home in 17 to Jacksonville in the playoffs to Blake Bortles.
To Mr. Bortles.
You had a loaded team. You had Juju on a rookie contract at the time. You had the Killer Bees and all in their prime still, and a great defense. And they gave up 45 points to Jacksonville at home.
That was Saxonville, bro. That was a hell of a team, though.
Pittsburgh should have won that game at home. If you're Pittsburgh and you're that culture, that's where you win the game. Because ever since then, it's just been chaotic.
Absolutely.
Antonio Brown debacle.
The George Pickens debacle.
TikTok videos in the locker room. The Instagram lives in the locker room. And
I mean,
they've had a lot of locker room problems.
Yeah, and their defense has not been playing well.
Too young. Yeah, they can't find the right quarterback.
And Mike Tomlin, I get their defense gets tired, but he's the defensive play caller, and you have all this talent, and they just gave up 30 plus points to the Colts with Gardner Minshew. It's weird to me. And I get, the offensive struggles, problems at quarterback, but the play calling's horrible. I mean, you have Deontay Johnson. I think George Pickens is a great talent. You have Pat Freiermuth, who I think is a good tight end. Yeah, your running back situation.
Colin Cowherd actually said something this week I agreed with about Pittsburgh, which is
Christmas miracle.
They've never evolved their offense in the last 10 plus years.
I agree with that. Yeah,
they never evolved their offense ever.
Are you guys
and
Mike
to their
that dude?
What?
Mike Tomlin is a great coach.
I'm not saying he isn't, but to a certain point, I don't know if he's lost the locker room or not. I mean, here are great coaches, there are great coaches everywhere that get fired after a certain point. I mean, I would consider Doug Peterson Super Bowl winning coach, good overall coach. He gets fired in Philly after having mediocre years. I mean, what has Mike Tomlin done other than keep his team in a steady state of mediocrity for the past decade? No playoff wins. You win 8 and 9 games, great. You're just going to continuously either make the playoffs, lose, or not make the playoffs and be 500 and not have a decent enough draft pick to fix your team. They're just mediocre. And me and Joseph were actually talking about this on our little topic blast, where it's it's almost to their detriment. I still think they're going to win 8-9 games this year. I really do. But they're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to have a pick in the high teens, maybe low 20s, and they're just going to repeat the same mistake over. They're going to be exactly what the Browns were, except the Browns did it out of stupidity, not because out of mediocrity. The Browns picked late round quarterbacks or quarterbacks in the 20s, trying to fix their problems, and didn't. And they're going to keep doing this shuffle. They're going to pick someone in the high teens, low 20s. They might pick Bo Nix. They might pick J.J. McCarthy. And they're going to stay in this realm of mediocrity.
Well, they won't be picking in the 20s if they miss the playoffs, Mike.
I said high teens. Well, if they win 9 games, I mean...
There's 14 playoff teams.
I'm aware. But
they're at 10 right now.
I said high teens.
Yeah. If Mike Tomlin got fired, there'd be 20 plus teams willing to hire them tomorrow.
And I don't doubt that. And it's not a matter of maybe it's a matter of fit. I'm not saying please do not mistake this that I'm saying Mike Tomlin is a bad coach. I have a major amount of respect for Mike Tomlin. But right now, I think the way he's doing things is to the Steelers' detriment, not to their success. Like, they are not going to have the ammo to fix this. They're not going to have a pick to pick a marquee quarterback because they're going to win 8-9 games. Unless they trade some of their star talent.
Are you suggesting that they lose games just for better draft pick?
I'm suggesting yes.
This should be the year.
Yeah. I mean, look at, I know I make fun of Trevor Lawrence a lot, but the Jags have been competitive since they were able to draft Trevor Lawrence and get a good coach in there. The Bengals have been a Super Bowl contender since they were able to draft Joe Burrow. I mean, you need at least either a very capable offensive coordinator or a very capable quarterback in order to compete in the modern NFL. And like Joseph just said, and what Colin Cowherd said, the Steelers consider the offense a non-factor, and they keep being this steady state of mediocrity of 8 and 9 wins, 500, barely a winning season, what have you. And they're not going to be able to draft a marquee quarterback unless they trade some of their star talent, which is also to their detriment. If they wanted the first overall pick in this next year's draft, Chicago would ask for, okay, give us this year's first round pick, next year's first round pick, and give us TJ Watt. That's what they would ask for, or something similar to that. And that would be to their detriment. That's my point.
Mike, by the way, going back to it was a fact check. So they made it to the conference championship game in 2016, right, Mike? You know what the final score of that game was, Mike?
What was the final score of that?
Against New England, who they could never beat. 36-17, and the last touchdown came in garbage time. So it really was 36-10. What does that mean when you only have 10 points up? Your offense has never evolved. They never evolved. And I get he's never had a losing season, but they're not doing anything in the postseason.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Standard.
You haven't had a losing season. What does that even mean?
The Pittsburgh standard is supposed to be Super Bowls.
Yeah. Never had a losing season. He also hasn't had a playoff win in almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And here, I talked to some guys on AFC North Talk. I follow some Steelers pages.
I'm not. They've been falling off to me for a while.
Yeah. Here, they're in the basement where they belong. So, I hope they keep Tomlin. I hope they keep Kenny Pickett. I hope they sign Kenny Pickett to a 10-year deal.
Well, that's not happening.
That's where my headspace is. I do not wish good things for the Steelers. So, if they want to keep on this train, more power to them. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at with it. I don't hope
to get a quarterback 100% and an offensive coordinator.
They just need an offensive identity and a line and a quarterback.
I do think Justin Fields would be a good fit for them. That's actually my dark horse team to pick him because I still think them or the
Chicago
Falcons
should keep him.
They're not gonna.
Why not?
Oh, kind of what we talked about the other day. I don't think Chicago's going to keep him because
Mike, if they take Caleb Williams over Justin Fields,
they are.
that is the worst decision
They're
they'll
gonna.
ever make.
They're going to do it. I mean, here,
Why?
I like him or hate his personality. I still think he's a great talent. And at the end of the day, you got to pay Justin Fields when you're Chicago and you need a lot of pieces still on defense, on O-line. Start over with a rookie quarterback contract, continuously build, and in a year or two, maybe you have a contender. That's what they're going to do. I mean, you're not going to pay Justin.
He's never going to be a contender. Chris, would Jim Harbaugh ever think of coaching Caleb Williams? Hell to the no. Dad, do you really think Harbaugh would coach Caleb Williams? Because that's probably who they're going to hire.
No, but let me ask you this: Why would you elect not to pay Justin Fields and go take this guy
who's just as talented?
And,
no,
I mean, guys.
No, but listen. You know what you
salary cap, and they're not that far away with pieces.
You know what? Correct, absolutely. They got the picks, and they just get a coach, and they're on their way.
They're on their way.
But you know what you get with Justin Fields.
And he's gotten better.
Why would you dump him off to go take this jackass out in Southern Cal?
You don't put a rookie in that locker room.
Mike, his team's not even ranked. He's terrible.
Neither is Drake Mays.
Drake Mays in North Carolina.
Mike, I'm not on here advocating for Drake Mays or either one of them. But who anointed this guy already?
Well, I mean, Drake May doesn't get the media hype.
Who says Drake May is going to be anything? Justin Fields proved in college.
If doesn't play at USC, he doesn't get the hype.
Correct.
If he doesn't play at USC and promote himself out in the open like this, he's just a guy. He's a talented quarterback. But you don't take where the Bears are right now and inject that locker room.
I'm gonna tell you this:
prima donna quarterback.
I'm gonna tell you this: USC has enough talent to where they should be ranked, right?
Right.
Why are they not ranked? Because the quarterback, that dude is so terrible.
Their defense was atrocious.
I don't care. You're USC. You're not even in the top 25, dude. You got enough talent. You've recruited enough. You got enough talent. Their quarterback has pushed them out of the rankings. If he's got that kind of talent around him, how is he not even ranked?
He's a prima donna, dude.
Right.
I don't know the guy personally, so I'm not gonna.
Mike, you can look by his actions. He puts it out in the open for you.
Exactly. You're known by your actions, dude. And he's sitting there saying, "I want ownership of a team."
Get out.
This guy is going to be a bust, Mike.
I don't bet you at all.
I'll bet you anything.
Let's just do $100.
I'll bet you.
Daddy don't got the kind of money for big bucks bets.
He's going to be a bust. He's going to be a bust.
I really don't think so. I think I think he's going to be great in the NFL. I think he's an excellent talent, like or hate him. But
you can be talented, Mike, but if you don't have the head, you don't have the mind, you're screwed.
He's not going to win a locker room over.
Mike, think about this though, Mike. He's not playing on some sorry ass MAC team or whatever. He's playing for the Trojans. He's got a ton of talent around him. He's got a coach that knows how to win. I'm not a Lincoln Riley fan, but Lincoln Riley's won a lot of games in college football, and you're not even ranked. You're supposed to be that good. If he's that good, him alone should propel them guys into the rankings.
And he has struggled against the better defenses in the pack.
And he's lost every big game he's went in.
Yep.
He looked atrocious last year in the game he painted his nails up against Utah.
He's made headlines with Justin Fields. Why are we acting like, oh, he's not good enough? I mean, I don't get it with the Justin Fields talk, and he went to Ohio State and whatever, but so I'm not in love with Justin Fields, but when I look at Justin Fields and I see him play, I don't see why you can just say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and pick Caleb Williams over him.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I just said my argument. I mean, I really do think they're gonna I really do think they are.
It makes no sense.
Why? Because Mel Kiper said it?
No.
No, Chris,
I don't
they're
even
not
listen
doing-
to Mel Kiper. I
Chris,
think
they're
he's an
not,
idiot.
or Mike, they're not doing that, dude. Are you crazy?
You can't
They're
inject a
not.
rookie into that locker room.
That is
where they
so
are.
risky. And you know what you got with here. Fields was look what the guy did in college, man. Look what he did. I don't care if he's at Ohio State. He had a bunch of talent around him too. He balled out in college. And that Clemson game, man, they beat his ass. That hit Skalski put on him, they were showing again today. That dude he had probably his best game of his career. And he's got in the NFL on a lousy ass team.
With
And
a
the guy's
terrible coach.
and he's proved that he can play NFL football. And he hasn't been utilized entirely yet.
I'll say this, Chris. Chris, you're a Michigan fan. You watch Justin in college, like you say. You're not the biggest fan of Justin Fields, but would you say Justin Fields is a great competitor and a leader, and he's tough?
Yeah, dude.
Because I would say this, Chris,
Listen,
as
it's
an
about
Ohio
leverage.
State, I'm gonna be honest with you, Chris.
It's about leverage. It's easy if you're gonna about to have the number one pick. It's easy to be like, hey, Justin, I don't want to pay you $200 million like all these other stinking quarterbacks are getting. So we may move on. And then just to try to pay him a little bit less. It is what it is. I mean, that's just how
here's my whole
works.
point, though. Who do I want my locker room if I'm for my franchise and in the NFL, which is grown men? And as an Ohio State fan, I would rather have J.J. McCarthy in my locker room than Caleb Williams because J.J. is a leader.
Absolutely.
As much as I don't like the Wolverines, J.J. is a leader. His team backs him up. He's talented. He's won. He's become a winner now.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a great shot to win in a couple weeks. If he pulls that off, that's really impressive.
When is that game?
I would rather have J.J. McCarthy on my NFL locker room than Caleb Williams. No point of
because he's a winner.
It's not a debate to me.
His guys play for him.
You can't just look at the talent. You have to understand locker room chemistry and team sports. That's like the biggest part. If you don't have that, it means nothing.
I think the NFL needs to learn with
stadium. It means nothing.
I think the NFL and like it's happened with coaching too. I think we've got to the fact of everyone wants to project instead of just look what you have in Justin Fields. Why are we projecting? Oh, Caleb Williams could be the next Andrew Luck or this quarterback or this quarterback or this quarterback, or he couldn't. So it's like, why give up on someone that actually can prove to win football games in the NFL and the team can rally around, and instead of giving him a piece with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet and stuff like that. I mean, they've drafted offensive linemen the last 2 years in the draft. I mean, they have one of the best young offensive linemen in Darnell Wright. I mean, they have stud players around, and they spend
when you watch them today, you could see Fields in the chemistry in that locker room. They like him. Like, you cannot mess that up where they are.
I mean, honestly, he threw quote unquote 2 picks. Well, both of them were failed Hail Marys that, to be honest with you, one of them should be a touchdown. And
he made some incredible plays with his feet, rolling out left, extending plays. I mean, he gave us some fits, and
trust me, the Pittsburgh Steelers
would love
to have Justin Fields.
I think if he left, I think the best fit for him if he left, though, I think would be New Orleans.
New Orleans or Atlanta.
Here's the other thing, though. I mean, yes, this guy he's talented, right?
Extremely.
He's talented, but Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick, though.
Exactly.
He was supposedly had 0 talent.
Jamarcus Russell was talented.
Right. Talented. Jamarcus Russell, talented. Ryan Leaf, talented. Head case. Tom Brady wasn't a head case. He was talented. It's just
Johnny Manziel had talent.
Right. I mean, Bill Belichick just found the talent and developed
Colt McCoy had talent.
Right. So it's all about quarterbacks got to have their mind has to be right on, man. And that dude just don't have it.
That dude out of
UCLA. What's that?
The dude out of UCLA the year that Josh Allen and all those other guys, Sam Darnold and
Josh Rosen.
Oh, Josh Rosen.
Chosen Rosen.
And Chris, you were all about Rosen, dude.
Yeah,
I know. You were all about Rosen. You thought Rosen was the best quarterback in that draft.
remember when
I
he
said
got
he was the most
drafted?
pro-ready. Yep.
Yep.
You remember when he got drafted and he told the guy on the phone, he goes, "We're gonna win so many Super Bowls, man." And he just hung up.
Josh Rosen.
I feel like the NFL is so in love with it, and they do it with coaching too, projecting. I got to get the young coordinator.
It's the young hot boy coordinator.
Yeah.
Everybody, and you know why Caleb Williams has a high draft stock? Because of Patrick Mahomes in his arm.
Yep.
That's the only reason.
I actually, you know what? I wanted to ask you this, Chris. Do you think Ben Johnson's going to get a coaching job after this year?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You do?
Sure.
If he wants it, he had one last year. He turned down the Panthers.
He might want to go back.
I'd turn down the Panthers.
I would too.
David Tepper is awful.
I'd keep my job on Arlington Road.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'd keep my job at GameStop. David Tepper calls me, yo, you want to coach the Carolina Panthers?
Hell
Not
no.
really, dog.
I'm hang on, I got somebody on the other line about a set of white walls.
Yeah, hold up. Let me put you on hold.
Yeah.
This dude wants to know about this PS5, man. Dog.
I would actually accept the job to coach the Carolina Panthers, but
I wouldn't.
I probably wouldn't be very good at it, though. But
I mean, you know what? David Tepper still he gave Matt Rule 2 years. I mean, you'd still be able to. I mean, you know, you still.
What I would do is the same as Stefanski. Try to hire guys that know way more about football and have them be my assistants.
Oh my God, you're such a hater. It's not even objective.
Hey, you know what though? You know what though? Some of the training I've ever had though, Chris. It reminded me of this. What you just said. Great leaders find leaders that are better than them.
Of course, that's
You know
what it's all about.
That's. So, it reminded me of that. So
I like that saying.
It's the truth. I mean, you know who actually told me that all the time? Was my old GSM at my previous stop. He used to say that to me. I don't know if he was just boasting about himself or what, but he'd say that a good leader hires better leaders. That's what he used to say. Maybe he's lying because he's proven himself to be a liar. Maybe he really didn't think that, but
I like that though. That's
true though. It really is. It's true though.
Where's somebody give me an update, Jags Ravens. What's it looking like?
Your Ravens 27-7.
27-7. 20-7.
Yeah, this game's a wrap. They're just killing
23-7.
Dude, the Jags have just fallen off.
They can't protect the quarterback.
Gosh darn.
Their offensive line is horrible. It's just
Wow.
like Cincinnati.
So wait, what is? I don't know their division. I don't know if the Colts take their spot with this
Colts
loss.
are ahead of them right now.
Well, let me pull it up, Mike. You know I got it on deck.
I don't know if they'll. Right now, the Jags are in this spot, but I don't know if they go to 8-6.
I don't know their division record against the Colts.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There you go, Mike. There's the standings right now.
Yeah, they'll have the same record, but I don't know what their head-to-head division looks like.
Well, Jacksonville's 4-1. Colts are 3-2.
Yeah. So, well, what are the Texans?
Oh, there it is. It's right there. I'm blind as
Texans are 2-2.
Okay, so it still would be the Jags.
Oh my God, he ran his ball on the back of the end zone.
Yeah, that's
a bad division.
well,
I don't say bad division. They're competitive. They're winning, but they're just not. There's no nowhere there is, but it's Kansas City's obviously the best team in their division. But
so, what's your Super Bowl picks, Joe?
If I had to bet right now, 49ers are definitely making it the way they're playing.
Until they run into the buzzsaw Lions.
You know what? The Lions really impressed me last night. I liked what I saw last night. That was impressive. Looking at this again, shit, I don't know, man. The Ravens look pretty impressive tonight. And they're just so physical up front. But I like the Ravens. I like Buffalo coming up from the bottom. I'm not sold on Kansas City or Miami this year, to be honest with you. I know Kansas City looked better today. They're probably still going to be a tough out. I probably would go 49ers Ravens right now.
Browns Lions. Let's go. America needs it.
I would love
But
to
I
see
think
that.
But I think the two
Me
teams
too.
that are going to make some noise are the Browns and the Bills. They could really f things up. If the Browns can really get rolling down. But my problem with the Browns is the inability to run the ball consistently.
Right.
That's
And the
that's
Ravens can.
The Ravens can do that, and they're healthier on both sides right now.
Much healthier.
And I think if the Ravens played the Chiefs right now, I'd take the Ravens. They would just kill them up front. So I'd probably see Ravens Niners right now. But I think the Lions are definitely in the mix after last night. I think they can possibly get there to the championship game, the NFC championship game. But I'd still
We're
take
getting
the Niners.
CJ Gardner-Johnson back too, baby.
What do you think, baby? What do you think of the Cowboys after today, though? I mean, I don't know.
They are who they
are who we thought they were.
Yeah, I mean they're the Cowboys. I don't
think the Eagles are that good either now with Matt Patricia calling the plays. I mean,
they're going to dominate, but then they're going to have some stinkers. I mean, that's just who the Cowboys are. But I think that I think it's a 4-team race in the NFC. I think it's Detroit, Dallas, Philly, and San Fran. But I'd say right now I would go Miami, San Fran.
I go, yeah. So I like Baltimore, San Fran. Who do you like, Mike?
Browns, Detroit. America needs it. I'm just going off of the Super Bowl I want to see.
Get the hell out of Toledo. That happens.
Right.
Get the hell out of Toledo.
Be a damn war in Toledo.
I don't know if the Browns could score enough points to keep up with the Lions.
It'd be a fun Super Bowl. I mean, that'd be like a hard-nosed shit. I'd love that in Vegas. That'd be cool as hell. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they play in an NFL championship once upon a time, long time ago?
Like 1965.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
What do you think, Dad?
Right now, Ravens and Niners. And I'm saying just because the Ravens are showing they can run the ball, the Browns can't run the ball. They're not getting there.
Yeah, the Niners are just
that O line and beat that. I mean, it would have to be an act of God. You know what I mean?
Start praying.
Yeah. I mean, but here it's all about the trenches, man. When your O line's beat up like that, shit.
But gentlemen, I love you all dearly. The wife is calling, so I got a dip. But I love y'all.
All right, Mike. I'll see you, bud. Have a good week.
I'll see y'all. We'll call you tomorrow, Joseph. Go Browns.
Go Browns. First step to run the ball, call run plays. Yeah, I did not like the first half play calling at all. I didn't like on the second down and deep in the 10, dropping it back. But I think it's two ways right now. I think it's not calling the right run plays, and I think it's also the O-line's just not. You don't have the chemistry in the O-line, and the guys that are getting the reps like that, it ain't going to work running the ball. But I don't know. But
they're not going to be able to keep this up. Not against playoff caliber teams like real.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they'll do enough to win out just because they're hot right now and they're finding ways to win. They're playing teams I think they should beat. But I agree with you. When they get in the playoffs, you have people to run the ball. And they're not getting it done right now. And Jerome Ford, I think, is a nice role player, but he's not a starter in the NFL.
No.
He's getting starter reps. So
yeah, I don't understand that whole their offense. I mean, the
only thing that's going well right now is the receiving. It's funny. Earlier in the year we were bitching about the receiving. The receiving's gotten better, and Flacco obviously. So that's the only two things going right now. So I mean, they're getting some of the short yard running games, like Kareem Hunt's still able to convert some first downs for them when they need it, but it's just not as consistent as we need to be.
Yeah, I mean, Kareem Hunt had a couple nice plays in that fourth quarter with that scramble, with the, Flacco scrambled out a little bit and hit him on the, on that run wildcat, flick it back to Flacco, screen somehow, I whatever that play was, but that was a nice little catch and run for Kareem Hunt. But Kareem Hunt's always been a guy, and I've said this a lot of times, that he has to be in the game, and then he gets better as the game goes. But they're not giving him the ball consistently, and it just I don't understand why. I don't get why. I just don't. I don't know what the reasoning is for it, but it is frustrating because, again, Kareem Hunt's always been a guy that give him the ball 20 times, and on carry 15 to 20, he's getting 10 to 12 yards a carry on those last 5 runs, and it's just they're just not giving him the rock enough, and I don't understand why. I really don't.
I don't know. I don't know. Man, I miss.
I think it's they want to have a reason to move away from him at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's usually it comes down from the front office.
So they're just like, because if they use him too much and he's effective, then it's hard to do that to the fans. You know what I mean? That's one thing I can think of.
To me, when you want to win, who cares? The rest of the stuff doesn't. Forget the noise. Block the noise out. I want to win.
Well, I think that's how we think as fans, but it's a business, and I think you get certain people up in the
that definitely goes on,
and that's the shit that they look at.
Yeah, of course.
They're already figuring out next year, and so and who knows, for whatever reason they don't want to bring him back. I think the usage shows that they don't want to bring him back. You know what I mean? If you really felt like, God, we love this guy, we're glad that he's here, we want to keep him this time, you'd be running the shit out of him.
Well, yeah, they want to make sure Jerome Ford pans out to where they want it to be because that's their pick.
I'm not. Jerome Ford
tiptoes. He doesn't hit the hole hard enough.
Yeah, no. He's tiptoeing.
He's too hesitant. He's thinking too much.
Right. Yeah. Good grief.
He isn't anything.
Which is odd because at Cincinnati he was a downhill go guy. I don't. He might just be thinking too much. I don't know, but yeah, they need somebody to just hit the hole hard. I don't know who's a free agent running back right now. You could add late in the year.
No,
I don't even know who's available.
Yeah, I don't either. Leonard Fournette's on the Bills practice squad.
And that's something that hasn't really been talked about. Pierre Strong's made it, but if I can cut Pierre Strong and get some or somebody and get a guy in here to just come in and help this running game out a little bit, a veteran that a little more physical back, I think that's what they need. And just roll with 3 of them.
I think maybe Darnell Henderson or something from the Rams. I don't think there's a huge.
Just a bully ball. We need We need a bully ball.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would consider that. I don't. It hasn't really been talked about, but I would consider it personally.
But they definitely need to run the ball. It's throwing it 70% or what? Between 60 or 70% of your plays.
66%. He said right here.
66. Yeah.
Since Flacco rolled in.
Yeah, that's crazy for a team like this. In my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets it done in the playoffs, but
I don't either. That's what I'm worried about. I think they can defensively they can match with anybody in the playoff, and that might be what keeps them in a game. But the running game has not evolved the way I need it to be in the last month. So but before we get out of there, Chris, we're getting closer to the game at the end of the month. How are you feeling right now as a Michigan fan, and are you still confident your Wolverines will go in there and just beat Alabama really bad?
Well, I wouldn't say beat Alabama really bad.
Okay.
I'm definitely confident in Michigan for sure. We'll see. We'll see. We obviously have to get it done. We've went to the playoffs. This is going to be our 3rd straight year, and our first 2 hasn't been a good run. So, we'll see. Jalen Monroe, I mean, he played a good game against Georgia. We'll see if he's going to have to play just as good of one, against Michigan to win, and we'll see if he does. I obviously, Nick Saban's a great coach. Nick Saban, or Alabama, they're going to be coached well. But we'll see.
I think to beat Alabama too, your quarterback has to play the best game of his life. I think J.J. McCarthy's got to play the best game he's ever played in his entire career.
Well, I don't.
Which is tough because they have one receiver that's good, but so the other ones have been consistent.
I think he's gonna have. See, I think that we are who we are, and I think that. I mean, I don't think he's not gonna be able to turn the ball over. Honestly, I think the winner of that game is going to be the one that don't turn the ball over. I think if Bama turns the ball over, Michigan wins. I think if Michigan turns the ball over, Alabama wins. I think that's going to be a big thing in this game.
Anytime I've seen Alabama lose under Nick Saban and Dad, it's because the quarterback and the other team had the best game of his life, basically.
Correct.
Or had a career.
If JT Barrett was the quarterback in 2014, we don't win that game. What happened was Cardell Jones comes in with a cannon.
Yeah.
And that's what changed everything. Michigan is going to have to score some points.
I'm looking at Deshaun Watson had to be heroic twice against them. Joe Burrow had the game of his life against them.
I'm just saying the slow, methodical run offense that they like, that's not going to get it done against Alabama. That J.J. McCarthy is going to have to be able to sling that ball around
all over the line
and create. Yeah, they're going to have to throw that ball and score points, or they're not beating Alabama. Because Alabama's going to score. They'll score enough.
Chris has agreed to get a tattoo of Nick Saban in his armpit if they lose.
I have not.
Dude, that would hurt so bad.
I can promise you one thing. There will be no tattoo bets for me for a while.
Yeah. Did the guy ever get the M on?
Not yet. He's definitely taking his time.
Oh, people are waiting on him.
He's hoping you'll forget.
Yeah,
he's sweating me out. I remind him at least 3 times a week.
Does he know it went public?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I've had people ask me in that comment section and on that video.
I went to a company Christmas party and his wife came up to me and goes, "Oh, so you're the a-hole that is the reason my husband has to get a Michigan M on his."
He agreed to it.
To which I said, "Well, he's the one that offered it."
Right.
He offered and he agreed to it.
Yeah, yeah.
With Honda McCord as his quarterback.
He's all tatted up on it.
It's no big deal.
Yeah, to him, it was a lot bigger of a deal to me, definitely, than it was to him. It's nothing to him. He's my dude. I like that guy.
By the way, Honda McCord went to Syracuse.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Where he belongs.
Yeah, that's who our quarterback this year was. A guy at Syracuse.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Now you know why I bet a tattoo on it.
Right.
I'm like, this guy stinks.
Right, lousy ass ACC.
Yeah.
Him and his dad.
Well, here you never know. He might do good.
Well, as I told Joseph today, playing 2 years at Ohio State, you didn't go in the ACC. He might ball out.
Things different. Yeah.
Oh, here I wish the kid well. He's actually a nice kid. I like Kyle's a nice kid. The problem's not really Kyle. The problem is his dad. It sounds like Derek McCord.
Well, his skill is.
Yeah, I mean he is who he is, but he's got some talent. I mean he can throw. He's got a nice. He's not a, and he's actually a nice kid.
Decision making wasn't good.
The problem is his helicopter dad is the problem.
Yeah.
When you have that above you, that's like this Dylan Raiola kid coming in. His dad seems like he's causing a lot of ruckus from what it seems like. Now they're transferring to fourth school now or third school to Nebraska.
Well, he was a old Lions lineman, defensive lineman.
Yeah, and he got pissed off at Zach Smith
or
too
offensive lineman
calling him. I mean, there's just something. I don't know. I don't like when these dads, get heavily involved with their quarterbacks. I've seen that so much growing up playing. with really talented guys, and their careers got blown by it.
Yep, it causes a big issue, man.
Yeah, you cannot have that. Just be a dad. Like
They can't. They become uncoachable.
Yeah, they don't listen to their coach.
No, and then they're afraid to make a mistake because they're afraid they're going to get yelled at by dad. And even when they're grown men, even when they're grown men, they're still like that.
No, you're not that.
No, I've been working myself on that with my kid, man.
At least you're on. But you're obviously you're a great human, but you're at least you're honest with yourself about it. You know,
he had about three really rough games of just not being aggressive and just not playing his game of basketball, and I reamed him pretty good. Now, the next game, which was yesterday, I was able to watch him on video, and he actually had his best game, scored 16 points in the best game of the year. So maybe it worked. But after I reamed him pretty good, just about him just not being aggressive, just looks not himself, this, that, and the other. I did feel kind of bad. I was talking to my wife. I'm like, I just need to just. I shouldn't have went in as much as I can, because here it is what it is.
How old is he?
He's had the same two coaches his whole stinking life, which was me and another couple other guys that, obviously now he's in middle school ball. He doesn't have us anymore. So I think he's just adjusting to that and everything like that. So I think it's easy when we know the type of player he is. We were able to just let him be that type of player. And, I think this time he's just like, I'm trying to do what he's saying and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm all for you being coachable and stuff like that, but you're not even looking to score. You're not looking to be aggressive. Like, be you, dude. Be you.
And, I know this. Like,
when I went out and do it.
I was him and I sound very similar. I had the same coaches my whole life, around the same people. I didn't have a change like that though until I got to high school. So it's kind of good that he's going through it now, because then when he gets to high school, he'll be able to adapt to it. You know what I mean? Not being able to adjust to different coaches, and because you never know in high school. But that definitely affected me when I got to high school, because you're with new people you don't know. You know what I mean? You're used to the same guys coaching. Your dad, like my dad was involved. Dad, you were always on the staff on my teams, so it's different. But good for him though for bouncing back though. Got to go.
Yeah, I think it worked, but at the same time, it was kind of like, for me, obviously, there is that fine line of like, yeah, you still need to listen to your coach. It's not that I don't want you to listen to your coach or be uncoachable and stuff like that, because I totally understand that. But at the same time, you got to show who you are, and you got to step up into that and be who you are. And it worked, but I was a little hard on him.
I think that's not what I'm referring to though. I think him and I are referring to, like, I like that. I think that's good. It's good to get on it. Sometimes I need it tuned up sometimes when I was his age. You know what I mean? Sometimes we need our asses tuned up, because we know it's because what he's capable of doing.
I know what's in there.
Yeah. Right. And my dad, he used to, and I got it. Like, I didn't take it personal. My dad would tune me, because I understood what he meant. Like, hey, you could do, like, even my coach, John Potok, who was a family friend of ours, and I didn't really look at him as a coach. He was more like a second father. He'd get on me sometimes because he knew what I was capable of doing, and I understood what he meant as I got older, and it worked. But I think that what we're talking about though is we were around so much. I don't know if anybody. I mean, we were around so many different parents and great athletes growing up, like guys who were extremely talented, and they got ruined because their dads were. It wasn't about they were yelling at them. It was because they were trying to persuade the coach to what to do for their kid's benefit, which is what Derek McCord did this year, and threatening to leave. It's not they don't give a shit about anybody else in that team. They'll walk over any other kid on that team. And I went through this a couple times in my career on a basketball team. I went through this in my middle school years, where there was some sideshow shit going on that they didn't think nobody knew about, but it was pretty obvious what was going on, and it ruined the whole team. It ruined the chemistry. It ruined the season. and because you have people with their own interest outside of the team, and it just I mean that's cancer in a locker room. It's cancer for the team. That's what we're talking about. And they end up ruining their kids' careers because their kids. So you're doing it the right way because, like I said, he knows how to adapt now to different coaches. You know what I mean? And he's doing it the right way. A lot of these other kids, they don't know how to. When they get away from their dad, finally, these kids we're talking about, these brats, basically, they're kind of like spoiled brats, a lot of them, because they've been enabled by their dad. They don't know how to adapt to another coach, and they won't listen to them.
Well,
they just tap out.
Here's what most parents do, and a lot of coaches do: is they don't. Everybody says, yeah, they're just kids, but they don't really live by that. That they're just kids. They don't let these kids just live in the moment. They want them thinking about high school or college. Why the hell would you want young kids to be thinking about that? You know what I mean? You just let them be kids. Let them enjoy the game. Let them enjoy goofing off. They're not being paid $20 million a year. It's an extracurricular. That's really what it is. It doesn't define who they are. And I'm saying this shit because I went through it. And Joseph's giving me credit, but there was times I pushed Joseph and I said shit to Joseph I shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
And what I was doing was I was thinking about high school and college, and it was stupid. And it played a part in what he's dealt with the last 9 years. And because he pushed himself so hard to where he's breaking down mentally and having panic attacks. Part of the reason was he felt like he had to please dad so bad. You know what I mean? So let these kids just be kids. I'm actually doing a show later this week. Joseph's asked me to do this. I'm going to do my own show on here, and it's going to be talking about things like this. And but Chris, what I would say is trust what you teach him at home as a father, and just trust that, because I know you do a good job. I know you and your wife do a great job with that. That'll just filter into sports. You know what I mean? And he knows, you know what I mean? If you teach him hard work at home, hey, bud, one thing I always taught Joseph, and I teach Julia, I don't really care. I don't focus on what grade, same with Joseph, or what grade Julia brings home. I focus on her effort. Just put 110% in and let it fall. Because if they do that, they're going to come out ahead most of the time. You know what I mean? Remember I used to say that in the sales meetings? Be doing something productive. You're going to come out ahead. So
there you go, Dad. Dad said, you got tuned. I got tuned.
Yeah.
Great moment your dad will remember.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is just trust what you do at home and how you raise him. That'll carry on in the sports. I'm just not a proponent of here. You get on your kid if they do something wrong, morally wrong, or they're disrespectful to an adult, or they disrespect you, or this shit's just extracurricular, man. We get so wrapped up in it. It's our life. I mean, it's so much of our culture, sports. And you think about this, young girls are, everything they see and everything they're taught is they got to look a certain way. You know what I mean? They got to look a certain way, act a certain way. And then boys, all they're taught is sports. You know what I mean? And you go into Dick's Sporting Goods, you just look at the amount of apparel for these young kids and how much money they're charging for it, and we buy it up. Hell, I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on it. It's just sports. Let them enjoy it, man. You can't force them. I forced Joseph. Here, I didn't listen to him coming out of his freshman year and his sophomore year. He didn't want to play football because he wasn't feeling good. Things were going on, and I didn't want to hear it. I didn't listen to my son. I was too focused on what I wanted for him, what I thought was best for him. And it forced him to go in there half-hearted. And it just, you just don't want to do that to a kid. They got to want it. You got to leave it up to them. All you can do is encourage, and they'll be fine, dude. You know what I mean? I'm telling you this because I'm telling you, you're going to see when I do this. This has become, you know me pretty well, and you've spent the last 9 years around me. How passionate this has made me, and I just, you know what I mean. I just don't ever want another kid. And I'm not saying that about Jace.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm always going to give another father that kind of advice because I've went through it now, and you know, and we've tried to do a hell of a lot better job with Julia, and you know, it's just the kids get their childhood taken away from them, man. It's just not fun anymore. They gotta have fun. You gotta have fun in what you're doing. Think about what you do and what I do. We want to have fun. Think about these kids. They're little kids, man. This shit should just be fun for them. You know, and if, like I said, what they're taught at home, you know, that'll carry on in the sports. It's like if you got a kid at home that's not disciplined, he's disrespectful, he's terrible. Do they ever truly ever make it sports? They don't. They don't have the character, the integrity, the work ethic. You teach a kid, if a kid just knows work ethic and he's taught respect and discipline, that's what propels kids through. That's what gives them an opportunity in not just sports, but anything they do. So just, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just don't ever, and I'm not saying you do that, but I'm just saying, man.
No, I do it. That's the problem.
Yeah, don't take it from them, dude. Let them have fun. It's okay that he takes a couple games off. He's a kid.
Well, I think too, as someone who just came out, I mean, I'm only 9 years removed. That's not a long time. I mean, in this era of playing sports and a lot of what's going on nowadays, I think too, would really help. I think if I was, not that I've ever been a parent, but I think something you did, Dad, that I, looking back on now, I think works. Matt Machezzi's mentioned, because Matt works with kids all the time as a former pro. And one thing he says too, he said as soon as a parent walks in and says, well, my kid's the hardest worker, immediate red flag, because he knows what he's going to get eventually. The kid's going to start arguing with him down the road because the parents are enabling that. But I think the second kind of goes with that. When my main point is, I think if you want your kid to be successful in sports, is not that I had to retire early medically, but I think I've seen a lot of guys who I know how I've seen what it takes to get there, to make it to college or to be successful. I know guys who have done it, learn from guys who've done it. And one of the most important coaches I ever had in my life was a guy who played professional baseball, Jim Gleisner. And for how old's Jace, Chris?
13.
So yeah, right. When I was 12, 13 years old, for my whole life, I was an okay baseball hitter. I wasn't great at hitting the baseball. I was an okay player. I just, I was a good role player. But by the time I got to my 12, 13-year-old part in my baseball career, whatever you want to call it, I wanted to become better at it because I was playing more competitive. I needed to up my game. And so him and I would constantly, growing up, we would try to go to the batting cages, and he would try to coach me. He didn't play baseball. He was trying, though. He meant well. But what my dad did, which is what a lot of parents don't do, I think nowadays, is find somebody who will invest in your kid like you invest in them, but they know what they're doing more than you. So he invested me into Jim Gleisner, a pro baseball player, and he didn't try to tell Jim about me. He didn't try to tell Jim anything what to do. He just said, Jim, he just signed up the lessons, and he trusted that Jim would do his job. And Jim Gleisner turned my whole career around in baseball. That next year, I was one of the best hitters probably in the entire league. My on base percentage and home run, I was killing it. I had zero. I had 100% confidence at that plate the next year because I trusted in what the guy was telling me. But I've seen a lot of parents, and Jim would tell me this all the time. And there's kids that I knew who started working with Jim, but their parents wouldn't give it a shot. You know what I mean? On the long run. Because they would judge it too quick, or they would say it's a gimmick. But you have to find somebody that knows what they're doing and invest in your kid like you want, how you invest in them, and it'll pay off. That's the key to me, because I think if you can find that, he'll learn what it's like to be coached by somebody else, but also he'll learn from somebody that knows what they're doing, that's been there. You know what I mean?
Well,
made it to that.
And what Jim reiterated, which is the most important thing of all this, and he said it to me at the beginning of your first session. It's all confidence,
right?
And it's like that. And anything we do in life, it's all confidence.
And confidence comes from your practice.
It comes perfect practice makes great confidence. Right. And we had, because I was working with somebody that knew, he's professional. He knows better than anybody. He played at the highest level. He knew exactly what he was doing because he's done it himself. If you've never done it yourself, that's like me trying to tell you guys how to do a desk a deal. I've never done it. You know what I mean? I don't like. You got to find. I think it's important to find somebody that has the best interest in your kid, cares as much as you do, but also knows how to get them there too. He'll put, because like you said, it's all about the confidence. It doesn't mean they're going to make it to the pros or be a great college player. It's just about that confidence. And a lot of the things Jim Gleisner taught me, I use those lessons for the rest of my life. About repetition, and a lot of it helped me get out of my anxiety because about that practice, how we used to rep it out in that gym. It's the same thing now, getting over agoraphobia. It's repetition, it's momentum, it's consistency, it's confidence.
Well, you think about how it's just a really simple thing. You think about like young kids, they'll go try anything. You know what I mean? Like a little kid will just go pick up a ball or anything. Don't have to be a sport or anything. They'll just go try anything. They seem like they have like unwavering confidence because that's how we're actually supposed to be. It's just no one's taken it from them yet. And so that's what happens is adults take the confidence out of these kids and destroy them. And it don't matter how much physical ability they have, someone takes their confidence from them.
Yeah.
And it's over.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So and it's usually somebody that's very influential in their life that does it. A coach, a parent, you know what I mean? So
well, that's why I say I applaud you, Chris, for even bringing that up. Because without I was talking about Derek. I really applaud you for admitting that where you think you meant and saying that publicly too. Really, that's pretty awesome. But which mean that's you guys are gonna be fine. When I see a lot of parents though, Chris, won't do that, and that's why I've seen a lot of kids, not just career, forget sports careers, because only a small percentage makes it. A lot of kids' lives kids I grew up with that I love, their lives are just. They're not going anywhere. They're depressed. They're down in the dumps because they feel like they let everybody down. A lot of them they won't even come out of their houses anymore. Like there's kids out there that I know that are just in a horrible space in their life right now. They have no goals, no desires, no nothing. You know what I mean? Nothing. They have nothing.
Only because
their parents wouldn't put their pride aside.
The sad thing is, it's not that they committed a crime or killed somebody or did something horrific. They just didn't make it in a sport. You know what I mean? So they're here. We got a kid, and I won't mention his name, Gurgs, but I used to tell you about him all the time. He was on our team that we won nationals with. He was 12 years old, running a 4.5 40. He could throw the ball 60, 70 yards in the air. He was throwing a baseball 80-something miles an hour. He was running 100 meters at 11 flat. Extraordinary talent. I mean, just unbelievable talent. Every other coach I've ever been around that went against him. I talked to a guy that ran Mogador youth football for 35 years. He's seen a lot of good players. He told me, he said he's the greatest football player I've ever seen. I mean, and he had a father like that. And he came into the previous dealership I was at 2-3 years ago, and it's the first time I'd seen him. He had played at Hoban for a little bit, and I just think his dad messed that up. He ended up over at Barberton.
We watched the podcast, by the way, too.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I don't really care. Here, I told him this when I saw him because I love him, and but he when I saw him at my old dealership, he just was down, and he started telling about some of the issues he had. And it was all about because he felt like the whole city of Akron with this. He's going pro. He's going to NFL. He's going to NFL. He's going to NFL. He's going to major leagues, and it just didn't work out for him. He started getting injured. It just didn't work out, and so I mean, he was so down on himself. He was having anxiety attacks, and it was crazy to see him like that. But it was like. He was like that because he just felt like he let everybody down. And it was the furthest thing from the truth. He's still a good human being. You know what I mean? And now he's a father. And so, but his confidence completely shattered just because he didn't make it in a sport. And it was just terrible to see, man. And I try to talk to him. I say, hey, your body broke down on you. Go coach, because he's still so competitive. He's one of the most competitive people I've been around. I said, go coach youth sports. I mean, these kids need good coaches. He didn't even feel like he could go coach. He didn't even think he was good enough to go coach. It's just how torn down he was just because he didn't make it in football or baseball. That's sad.
And he
That
still was one of
a
the
young
best
man.
players. I mean, the fact
I'm just saying.
No, I know, but he's still. I mean, my gosh, that's how impressive he was. Though. He was.
Yeah,
He,
my
a
God.
great kid too. Well, actually, good friend of mine. I love him dearly. But yeah, I don't know,
It
man.
just
It's
shouldn't be
crazy.
like that, man. How many of these guys feel like that?
Well, I think like that case there, other ones, we've rated a lot of those people down the road when they got into high school, and a lot of them started to say like, you know what, you got to back off a little bit. Like you start to see, you don't see it till you get to high school. High school is when you really start to see it.
Yeah.
You know, like I have a really good friend of mine. His kid was a really good player growing up. His dad was a great basketball player, went to college and big time player. I remember he told me one day, and when his son was in like 7th grade, he goes, "Dude," he's like, "Joe," or maybe he was 9th. His son just told him, he's like, "Dad, just leave me alone." And he said, "You know what? I just back off from now on." He just let him go on, and the kid was happy with high school, you know, and he didn't really care what happened. But
listen, because there's worse things in life, okay, than what Joseph's had to endure the last 9 years. And it's been hard on our whole family, but man, and I'm not saying that's the only thing that contributed to it, but I'm so passionate now about people having anxiety, especially youth, kids and young adults. And I'll do anything to keep that from happening to any kid. So it's very painful for me to see that or see it developing, because I can spot it from a mile away now. Just see it developing in a child or a teenager. And in here, and a lot of, by the grace of the Lord, there's Joseph, he's come out way ahead on this. And because he would hang on to God, and he had hope. You know what I mean? A lot of these kids don't have that. They don't have hope. So worse things start to happen. And it's sad because it's always by an adult's hand that happens.
Well, here, obviously, things definitely happen, and obviously, there's purpose in everyone. And,
Right.
But yeah, with that being said, yeah, I mean, that is one thing I think, for the longest time, it's obviously, through sports you can develop so many good habits in life.
Absolutely.
Like maybe more than anything.
And so it's, to me, obviously, do I think Jace is going to go, be a professional athlete? Obviously I understand that the world's up against it. It's unlikely, obviously.
We're all up against it.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think if you strive for that, even if you miss, you're still going to be mentally tough and mentally, but I agree. I mean, sometimes, you got to get it the other way, where, you're quote unquote supposed to go, and then you don't. And then now you feel like you've just lost your purpose in life. And obviously that can definitely, affect it. So yeah, I'm definitely a work in progress with him. Again, I've coached him pretty much his whole life. So, it's learning for me too,
It's a good thing you're doing now, though, because
by trying to back
middle
up.
school still got that youthful side to it. Once you get to high school, it's still youthful, but high school's a little different. You know what I mean? You're dealing with a lot more politics. And you're dealing with coaches that have been running their programs for a lot of them for years, and they don't want to listen to anybody. A lot of them, which is kind of a problem. But
Christian, you just said that the key few words purpose in life.
Mhm.
And that's what I would tell anyone. Hey, just make sure your kid knows their purpose in life. And their purpose in life is they only have one purpose.
Exactly.
That is to serve others and to be a servant.
Yep.
And if they, as long as they know that, that's one thing we've always taught. Joy and I have always taught Joseph and Julia. We've done our best. We've tried is teach them servanthood and to be servants. And Joseph is certainly a servant. He does that with his show, and when he talks about, he gets on there, he talks about mental health. He's doing it as a ministry and to serve others, and he serves in other ways also. And so does Julia. I mean, they understand that their purpose in life is to serve and benefit other people the best they can. And you know that, Chris.
Yeah.
And so I just think a lot of people don't know their purpose, and it's really simple. Just be a servant. It took me a long time to really figure that out, even though I was a servant most of my career as far as work. But when I really figured that out, what I was passionate about, what made me happy, that's when my life really got so much better. So, and I really, truthfully, I want to find an even greater way to serve, even if that means changing career. Sometimes I feel like that's what I want to do. I don't really want to. I do it every day. I'm coaching. I'm helping people get themselves here when they only thought they could be here. But sometimes I feel like I want to go to an even greater capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? So, and it might not be doing what I'm doing, but that's what I mean, because when you do that, when you just serve others all day, man, you just lay your head down at night and you just have total peace in your life. It don't matter how much money you make. None of that matters. Who cares? You got people. How many people do we know that got all the money in the world and they're not servants and they're miserable? And then you know someone that makes a wage or they don't got a pot to piss in, man.
Just because you're rich doesn't mean you're successful.
No, but it's usually, and that's what I'm saying. But they're not happy. There's no money doesn't buy happiness. So, and material and all, and likes on social media and all that crap. You got some people that they don't have any friends, or they have very few friends, and they have no money, but they serve every day and they're happy. They have total peace and they're happy. So that's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree.
Like I was getting ready to close the podcast. We went into a whole nother podcast.
Well, I hear you, Chris. You can see, because I'll go on and on and on. But you know what I mean. I'm just so.
No, and Chris, I really that means that's pretty awesome that you were vulnerable like that.
Yeah, it is, dude.
And a lot of people, a lot of parents, I wish would have more of your, not only, I know your beliefs and stuff, which we have the same beliefs, but also just be able to admit that and to be able to correct, and because Jace will see that. Jace will see that, remember that too.
That's the greatest thing for Jace to see, dude. To see his dad vulnerable like that.
He responded to it too. And he played well. So shout out Jace. He kicking ass. I'm gonna come check him out. But yeah, I gotta go see him now.
He's a good kid. He's definitely
he's a great kid. Yeah.
But
he's got a great Kobe Bryant jersey too. That was fire.
Yeah. Well,
he's got a lot of.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, here, one thing people will know about me, I'm as genuine as I can get, man. I am me, home, outside of work, don't matter. I am who I am. And,
oh yeah.
And if you don't like me, I don't care.
He got that. He might have left Detroit, but he still got some of Detroit in him.
Well, that's what I love about you, Gurgs.
Well, here
there ain't no phoniness, dude.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Because guess what? At the end of the day, I'm not here for you or anyone else. I'm here for purpose. Exactly. Obviously, at the end of the day, if God's pleased with me, that's all I care about. Because
Dan said, "You three guys are great human beings. Proud to call you friends and say that I know you. Love you guys. Have a good night. Have a great week. Love you too, Dan. We're glad
love you too, bud.
Thanks for all you've done for me as well. Since I
was also, man.
Little bug coming in there to Fred Martin as a young kid. Dan always made me laugh more than anybody. I always just wanted to go to Fred Martin just so I could hang out with Dan, just behind the desk and just laugh.
Dan can light up a room like anybody else. Dan has a gift
Yeah.
100%. Dan is a gifted human, and it's not just because I'm going to ask for a raise or anything like that.
Yeah, keep kissing that ass. We need to. No, just
It's
kidding.
Dan is a very, very, very good human, and he's a good dude, and he's
Great father.
He's taught me a lot.
No, he's a good dude. He's one of the most loyal people I've ever met. He's a good father. I mean, great father. I mean, he's a great husband. But he does have that gift. I mean, Dan kept me sane all those years. He just makes me laugh. And I think Dan, I don't know if he's still watching this, but I think he likes to make me laugh. He lives to make me laugh.
Yeah. That's what I like about Dan, because Dan said this earlier too. He said the same speech sounded like the same speech I gave when Chris rolled up to the Fred Martin Haas softball game, just wearing the Jordan 1s, no phone, no glove, no drink. You didn't bring a drink or your car keys. It was like
He just came walking over the hill.
First off, I'll start by saying they weren't Starberries. Come on,
it was
now.
Jordan 1s.
And second off, they put me in the 8 hole, and I went 4 for 4. So I don't know. I might not have had a glove, but I didn't need one.
But you had the best. I mean, you just, because I think you showed up a little later.
He did.
And you just came over the hill right there in Kenmore.
Oh, yeah.
Just walked right over, just showed up. But it wasn't, nobody really noticed until Dan just looked up. And when Dan saw you walking down the hill, he just couldn't help but he was like, okay.
Of course.
He's charging over that hill.
Yeah, just go. Like, you walked up like you're from, like, you could tell you grew up in Detroit. Like, I'm just here to play. Like, where do I go? I don't got time for this shit.
That was the first time I've played baseball in probably 12 years, and it didn't matter.
Because the best part was, like, Dan's got the gear and all this, because Dan's always got to be decked out and give the gear and everybody else. And you just showed up in shorts and a t-shirt.
Of course. Here, listen, I couldn't find my glove, and there's definitely no way I was going to buy one for a one-off game. So
no, I mean, Haas is like a pro team pulling up. My gosh,
yeah,
those guys act like it was like a game was on ESPN.
Yeah, and they worked us anyways. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad
we're out there. We had guys smoking cigarettes and talking about leads and donuts in the dugout.
Yeah.
Kirk, did you play in that one that was in Norton?
Yeah, heck yeah, I did.
Those guys hit like 50 homers.
Oh no, not the baseball one. No, I played in the one in Norton in the football. But
the softball.
You didn't play in that one,
dude. That's
when Reinhardt was at the plate with
the. Yeah, we had the jerseys and stuff. They must have bombed out 50 balls on us. It was just like
P-Car was pitching.
Oh my gosh.
We had P-Car was pitching. P-Car was throwing the meatballs. I mean, it was just boom.
I think I didn't show up because I was still salty that I got put in the 8 hole.
Yeah.
But
did you come to the Memorial Day games?
I would have put myself in the 8 hole showing up without a glove. I mean, I guess I don't blame them, but
did you show up did you come to the basketball games?
Oh, heck yeah.
On Memorial Day? We did the 2 days and the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
Dan, if you're still watching this, I got an idea. I might run out of place right by me and maybe run that back. We can get all the guys to do another like Memorial Day basketball thing again. I think that'd be fun for like a couple hours.
I don't think I've ran since, so
that
might be a hard thing for me to do, but I would be willing. Yes.
It was me, Caffeine Cowboy, Sanders, and I had somebody else I think Constantine was on my team for a little bit too. And I remember Marty was there. But the star of the show was Marty Animal. No points, but a triple-double. Rebounds, blocks, and steals.
Listen, I will show up just to see Dan throw a layup off the backboard like a 80-mile-an-hour fastball. Oh crap!
He said 8 hole is double. Yeah, 8 hole is double cleanup, bud. Needed your seeing eyes. Try P-Carl.
See? Yeah, I did. You're darn right. You're darn right. Baseball's never been my never been my number one, that's for sure. And it actually my kid's actually pretty darn good at it. But that is one where I've just completely put all the trust in his coaches, because to be honest with you, sometimes I'll just yell at the ump when the coaches are yelling at the ump, but I don't even know really what the rule is. I just believe them.
You're just yelling, yeah, fuck yeah.
They're like, that wasn't, that's a balk. And I'm like, yeah, that's a balk. I don't even know what a balk is. I mean,
oh my gosh.
My kid's like, Dad, what are you talking about?
Somebody got like a personal vendetta with the like the umpire, like a personal one, like, say something about his wife or something, and Chris would be like, yeah, what he said.
I tell you what, I've never really played baseball much. I think I played when I was young, but and I was
probably
actually
wasn't a lot of
nice
good fields in Detroit, was there?
Exactly. I actually I actually got selected to the All-Star game when I was younger, but I stopped playing. And to be honest with you, I probably have almost gotten into more fights as a baseball dad than any other thing. And I don't know why.
I've actually seen more fights in baseball with parents than any other sport I played. I mean, I see some, like, we've been involved in some all-out brawls. The biggest ball I ever hit in my life. How far did I hit that ball out there at North? It was 300, I think. It was.
Yeah, and you were what, 12 years old?
Yeah, there was
a huge, 12 that year.
It was a huge brawl.
You probably hit that ball 300 feet, a little over 300 feet.
It was right down center field. Well, I hit it into the other field where the T-ball game was going on. I felt bad, but there was a huge.
Sure you did.
Well, I mean, when I sat in the dugout, I looked over at the T-ball field, and little kids were sitting there like this. So I was like, "Oh, I don't want to hit a kid," but I don't think I hit it. I didn't hit anybody though, thank gosh. But no, we had a brawl in that game though. It was a huge brawl, shit talking going on. Parents and kids got thrown out of the game. One of our kids had to like leave and go to the hospital or something. He got hurt. He just took him home, and we were down 6-0. And I remember that game, we just hit like a rhythm. And I hit the home run, and then ever since then we just took off, and we came back and won the game. But
yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy game, man.
That was a crazy game. Never forget my dad telling my coach. Never forget my dad. There was one morning we had a game all the way down to Massillon, and our coach was out, so we had assistants in, and the assistants' kids usually were at the bottom. And they moved their kids up to the top and put me at the bottom of the order. And my dad wasn't too pleased about it. So that game, I proceeded to hit another home run. It's just out of anger.
Oh, he's told me this.
And he made sure to let them know it, and I did.
No, that was the first time you had been working with Jim with Gleisner for about 30 days. So so you hit one. You're down 0-2 in a count. Well, the first at bat you struck out, and so because you were pissed off too. So, I remember telling you, say, it's all right, bud, it's all right. And you start working with the hit stick, and so that was your second at bat. You came up, you were down like 1-2 in a count, and you blast that thing out center field. And he came back, and obviously it's the beauty of young kids playing baseball, man. All the kids were at the home plate, and he came across the plate. And when he came up to me, I said right in front of the other coach, I said not bad for being the bottom of the lineup like that. And that other coach got so pissed off, man. He starts yelling. He's like, "What's that supposed to mean?"
And you said, "You know exactly what that fucking means."
I get all these kids around. I'm like, "You know what the fuck that means?"
Dude, like I said, I don't know what it is about baseball, but it gets my juices flowing. Like, and it's like, it doesn't get me football gets me, but I honestly, I feel like I'm almost getting into fights at least every other game.
I think it's, you know what I think it is? I think it's even when you watch baseball, it's the anticipation with every pitch. You know what I mean? What's going to happen with each pitch? I think that's what it is. I think it just keeps you on edge. Or I'll tell you this, he played 3 different sports, and he was pretty good at all 3 of them. Baseball was probably the least of all of them, but he was good at all three. But I think I told you this before, Chris. There's no greater feeling for a dad than to see his son hit a homer. Hit that ball, dude. Your head as a father, you feel like you can go through a brick wall, man. You're like walking around like, yeah, motherfucker. I mean, you're just like looking around like, yeah, that's my son. You know what I mean? I remember that game where they where that brawl started when he hit that homer. Now this is like later in the season. One of the other dads on the team, he walks up in the dugout. I'm in the dugout because I'm one of the coaches, and he grabs Joseph's bat. He starts like looking at the bat. Like Joseph's in Little League running a hot bat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
So
I looked at him.
I proceeded to grab another bat and went out there and hit a double.
Yeah, well, I told him. And he did that right in front of me, man. And I got pissed. I'm like, I started yelling. I said, here, I said, you take any effing bat off that fence, and he'll go out there with that, and he'll do the same damn thing. Get the hell out of here, man. Don't come here like, what's that?
I took his kid's bat. I literally took his kid's bat and went out there and hit a
Good
double.
grief. But that's just crazy though. Like that's another I would never like walk up and try to take a kid's glory away or you know what I mean? Discredit them for what they just did.
Well, they didn't hear.
I'm gonna go look at this bat.
No, and it goes back to the point I made earlier about parents. You put me with somebody that you let him coach me that knew what he was doing. Even like when I struck out in that game in Massillon, Jim taught me how to be. When you work with a pro, you learn all the little details about baseball and any whatever sport it is. You learn how to become a puppet master, which is very key to be a good athlete because you see, okay, this is what he's throwing. Next time I come up, he's going to throw this. You start to pick up on things and read things pretty quickly in a game, which is what I did a lot of times. I just start dissecting that pitcher, and it was pretty easy to read him. But also, I put the work in. Jim and I put thousands of reps in that cage. Hours, thousands of reps. That's what it takes to be good and great or something. You know what I mean? That's what that guy didn't understand because that guy just thinks it's just some luck. But again, he doesn't understand because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, my favorite thing is parents that want to complain about their kids' playing time or parents that want to
that's the whole point.
They want to take the time to make every other excuse as to why their kid isn't playing instead of taking that time that they're complaining and actually going and working with the kid to make them better. And it's my number one pet peeve. And I think baseball, the reason why I get so frustrated is because I feel as if it's the sport where I just constantly hear other parents on the other side talk crap.
Yeah.
But will consistently do it because they feel as if they're protected by their environment.
You're absolutely right.
And I guess I'm just the kind of guy that, here, obviously I did it with Swarm that one time. It's here, dude. I don't care where we are. If you're really talking this, we can be about it. I mean,
you're not a phony. You're from Detroit. You ain't fucking around.
Well, here, and I'm not trying to say I'm some big bad person. I mean, to be honest with you,
it's respect. It's actual. It's real versus fake, is what it is.
I probably would have got beat up a couple different times by a couple of those parents that I stood up to, but
you wouldn't have backed down though.
And never.
It's not in your blood. You know what I mean? That's the difference between a real person and a punk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the Motown, baby. It's the biting kneecaps.
Well, it's like the other thing I learned from growing up with my uncles and growing up in Akron and Cuyahoga Falls, just the competitiveness. That's why, like, as soon as that guy challenged me with the bat, my dad started going off on him. My dad didn't have to tell me what to do. I just went ahead and grabbed the other bat and just went out there myself because I was just like, this son of a bitch, he thinks he knows something. I'm gonna go out there. Once you get me going, because I'm a very mild kid, but once you get my juice going and get my competitive fire out, I'm gonna try to destroy you. That's just how I am. I don't stop.
There was like a game
like a switch that flips.
There was a game last year where this is a funny one. Then I'll get out of here. But there was a game last year where it was a very, very, very good baseball game actually, and I give this team a lot of credit. But it was in Canton, and we were playing Lake, and I think it was like a 6-6 game, and And anyways, we ended up losing by 1, but they had zero reason why I got mad. But after the game, the coach was just wouldn't shake the other coach's hand, and it really had nothing to do with me. But then he just started running his mouth to the other coach while walking away, and the other coach on our team was getting held back. And again, back to your protected environment, so you're just talking mad smack. I just don't like that kind of stuff. Like, why are you talking crap? Literally, while the other coach is like, while walking away, like, why didn't you say something when you were in line with him shaking his hand? I mean, why do you have to wait?
Yeah.
So I didn't take it. So then I started saying, hey, buddy, if you have something to say, come on over and say it. We can work this out.
Yeah. That's why I love my coach, John Potok, growing up. Because I remember one time. Oh, go ahead.
And so I was walking over to him, and this other guy was sitting in his chair, and he's like, hey, buddy, hey, let's just stop this, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, look, dude, if you want to get into this, you can too, but I'm going to go over there and we're going to settle this. Like, not obviously with fists, but we're going to talk this out because he clearly has a problem. Like, and I want to know what's going on. Well, this dude stood up, and I'm not kidding you. He must have been about 6'8". And and I'm still talking to this guy like as if him standing up didn't really affect me whatsoever. And everybody behind me like kind of like shrunk back, you know what I mean? They were like, oh crap, and I'm still talking to this guy, and everybody just behind me is just laughing. Like, this dude just literally is still in this guy's like chest because he can't even reach his face. And he's still talking out the fact that this guy had a problem and this, that, and the other. My wife's like, Chris, please just get away. And I'm like, it's principle, Hannah. It's just a principle of it. I'm just a very principle kind of guy, but
it reminds me of my coach growing up in one of our football, the year before we won nationals. John, one time, this other team in our league, they would always talk shit, and their coach was kind of like a hothead, and they just always wanted to talk shit about us. And so one day we were supposed to play them finally, and they ducked the game. They somehow just got out of the game because they didn't want to play us. And we were pissed, obviously. We got there, we got warmed up. It was supposed to be a big game, and they just ducked out last minute. And I remember, never forget, 100 yards, standing 100 yards away, John just went and challenged this guy. Like, you got a problem? We'll settle right here in the middle of the field in front of everybody. And John was right in the guy's face. And they got to the point where the guy was like, oh, he was getting scared, noodle knees when John finally checked him like a man. And I just remember John just decided to call him the P word for everybody. And that was the end of that.
No, it got worse.
It got worse.
There's some other things that were said.
But I mean, you know what though? That coach, I don't think he ever came back either. He got his ass up out of there. So
yeah. And obviously there are other parents. All I heard, when I was trying to talk to the guy, were all the other parents from the other team, like, you're just mad because your team lost. And it's like, here, guys, if you knew me, you would completely understand that the fact here, I've been around teams that have lost before. Like, I know how to handle a loss. Like, it has nothing to do with the fact that we lost.
At the end of the day.
If we would have won, and you still would have been like that, I still would be doing the same thing, because it has nothing to do with wins or losses. It has everything to do with the fact that you were running your mouth for no reason. And if there is a reason, I want to know the reason.
Probably just salty they lost.
But yeah, I mean, it's no, they actually won the game.
Oh,
and that's
I don't know. I mean, yeah, but, I mean, you always get those parents just living through the kid. That's basically all. I mean, they went out there, won the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He acted like he was playing pitcher and just threw this flawless game. Like, no, you were in the stands drinking a Polar Pop. Just sit there and be a day. You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say a little bit ago. How many of these parents they have a Polar Pop, but it's not really Polar Pop inside it. And that's why
at our games it was. I don't know about some of
the I'm telling you, it's not just everywhere. There. And that's why a lot of these games get out of hand, because parents are liquored up.
Yeah, that's true. But I do need to get better, obviously, at that. But I don't know. Again, there's just something about baseball that just
Yeah,
gets
it
me
is.
going.
It's different. I agree. It is different. Before we get out of here, though, he said Chris's favorite quote: "You ain't got to be scared to get beat up."
It's true.
I'll tag that one.
And I
star that.
And I always, and here I've told plenty of people that, but I mostly do it when they're telling me that I'm going to be beat up, and it is what it is. I've been beat up before, it doesn't.
You get knocked down, but you get back up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it takes a man to get back up. Not too many of them out there anymore.
I'm not scared to be beat up. Let's just say that.
No.
And
yeah, it's like people don't realize too. Like,
fight. I don't want to.
No,
fight.
and you grew up poor too. You said if you grow up a certain way or like
pretty darn poor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've for 7 years of my life I had everything taken away from me. My dad had times. It's like, nothing compares to that. Like, who cares about getting beat up or if you lose a fight? I mean, nothing compares to all the other stuff you went through. So the hell with it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And again, by no means am I ever trying to fight anyone at any time. It's just clearly if you have something that is upsetting you, I want to talk it through instead of you just consistently talking crap. It's just let's just get this over with, let's settle it, and let's move on.
Well, yeah, what you're really saying is why don't you just act like you're basically telling the other person, like, why are you acting like this at a kid's game?
Yeah.
Or any game. Like, it's just not that. Why are you talking shit? It's just not that serious. Like, just you won, act like you've been there, and just go home. It's not that you're going to go home back to your life. I'm going to go back to my life. You're not proving anything by acting like an animal. I wish people would put that much energy into more important things that are going on in society and in life. Maybe we'd have a better, stuff happening right now. But
I just feel like if you have issues, if I had an issue with someone, I would address them. Right. I wouldn't beat around the bush, yell at them across the field or in a controlled environment. I told one salesperson, who's now a sales manager at Fred Martin many, many years ago, who would consistently run his mouth through Fred Martin. And he's actually a good friend, of all of ours. And, he's a good dude. But the one time I was very angry at him because he just kept going and going and going and going. And I told him, I said, you don't talk like this outside of these walls, do you? And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, because if you talked like the way you do in these walls outside of work, you wouldn't be talking like that right now. Because you would have already been beat up plenty of times.
It's easy to talk when you got your coaches around you and you just won your game and you're a big tough guy then. But
I had to run outside and break it up.
One-on-one though, and
I started screaming. I said, "Get your asses back in the showroom!"
Yeah.
Here. It is what it is. But it was true.
Oh yeah, he's a twister.
People talk, but
we'll have to do another whole show on all this stuff. This is good. We might have to come back with this stuff. This is good stuff. But
yep.
You guys want to tell them why they need to subscribe, like, and share? You want to tell them, Chris and Dad?
Yeah, Chris, hit it.
It's good stuff. It's real stuff. It's the real.
Right. The real with real people, real thoughts, real attitude, real stories. Real vulnerability now.
You only have to check Antonace's stats. All the other ones should be right.
But yeah. All right. Well, you guys heard them. Like, subscribe, share all the good stuff. We'll see you guys in the next one. We're out of here.
All right. See you, dude.
Later.
Go.